We sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Liberate your mind with laughter. Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut. Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Tri-Vision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate your mind with laughter is a GSPN production.
A presidential tweet attracting criticism. President Trump calling out progressive congresswomen who, in his words, originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, suggesting they go back and help fix the crime-infested places from which they came. Senator Dick Durbin suspects the president was singling out Michigan Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a Somali refugee and practicing Muslim. She moved here with her family as a teenager.
I think there's only one in particular he's pointing to. The fact that they went through refugee camps, came to the United States, clawed their way into an existence, and eventually were elected. Thank goodness. That is part of what America holds as a dream for people around the world, and the president should not diminish it.
Durbin on CBS's Face the Nation also criticizing the president's tweet. One of Congresswoman Omar's Michigan colleagues, Justin Amash, a former Republican who may run for president as an independent. He called the tweet racist and disgusting. The Pentagon trying to figure this out, how a Purple Heart wound up at a secondhand store.
A Purple Heart medal turned up at a Goodwill in Tucson last month, and now volunteers there are trying to find the family of the recipient.
Did the recipient of the medal give it away? Did their family, not knowing it was in the box? You know, who knows?
A volunteer made the discovery. The medal was found in a box and has the name of Nick D'Amelio Jr. in the words for military merit. He served as a seaman in the Navy during World War II, according to military records, but was listed as missing in action when his ship sank off the Solomon Islands in 1942. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
They had to work hard for this Wimbledon trophy. It was a marathon men's final on ESPN. After 5 sets, Novak Djokovic beat Roger Federer. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam DOE officials are working to fill 359 certified public school teacher positions for the upcoming school year. 194 middle and high school teacher positions are vacant. 44 special education teachers are needed as well. Guam Federation of Teachers President Sanjay Sharma told the Guam Daily Post that a more competitive salary schedule is needed to help attract and retain teachers. The starting salary on Guam for a fully certified public school teacher with a bachelor's degree is just $34,383. By comparison, a teacher at one of the Department of Defense Dodea schools on Guam starts at $49,842. Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez agrees that teacher salaries on island are not competitive. In the early 1990s, he said Guam DOE was able to recruit stateside teachers because back then teachers' salaries were competitive. Salary levels have stagnated, making it difficult for Guam DOE to recruit and retain teachers now, said Fernandez. The teacher shortage has become a perennial problem for Guam DOE. Officials held a job fair in June. Some, but not all, of the open positions were filled. The location of one of the 5 firing ranges to be built on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base has been moved to protect the endangered Cereanthus nelsoni tree. Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield told a group of Guam lawmakers who visited the location on Friday that the multi-purpose machine gun range has been permanently relocated sufficiently far away from the tree and its saplings in compliance with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Forest Buffer Zone. According to a news release issued by Joint Region Marianas on Friday after the site visit, Admiral Chatfield also told the visiting senators that no construction has occurred in the area of the tree yet. Black Construction already started building part of the live fire training range complex under a $78 million contract it was awarded back in August 2017. Chatfield said the contract for construction of the multi-purpose machine gun range near the endangered tree will not be awarded until March of next year. Speaker Tina Munya Barnes requested the site visit on Friday, which was led by Chatfield. The media was not allowed to go along. The governor and acting state preservation officer Patrick Lujan are scheduled to make a visit to the site later this week. We'll have more news after this.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Building a business is tough work. Big or small, Nanbo Insurance has your business covered. Nanbo takes the guesswork out of coverage to protect your investments. Over the years, Nanbo has worked with businesses of all sizes, from large hotels to small businesses. Nanbo Insurance will be your best asset. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings, up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Governor Lulian Guerrero has instructed the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency to release the CBD products the agency has been seizing since late February. The governor told reporters Friday morning that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has expressed concern about the health effects of various consumer products that have been laced with CBD, a derivative of the hemp plant. Cultivation and sale of hemp became legal when the 2018 Farm Act became law at the start of this year. However, the health effects of hemp-derived CBD products and the validity of the labeling claims made on those products are in question and subject to FDA regulation. Governor said the FDA's guidance has been that not enough science has been done to understand the health impact of CBDs yet. I'm concerned about the public health, said the governor. Nevertheless, in the wake of heavy pressure from business interests whose products have been seized, the governor said that they will now be released. At the same time, the governor advised that consumers should be aware that only one CBD prescription product has been approved by the FDA. And she said the Public Health Department will continue to ensure that CBD products are not marketed for use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. The Guam Federation of Teachers has learned that the Port Authority of Guam may have been using transportation workers to perform stevedore work without proper training. GFT union representative Robert Koss says that may have contributed to a serious injury accident at the port earlier this month when a load of rebar rolled over onto the leg of a transportation worker. Koss told the Guam Daily Post that GovGuam seems to be constantly looking for ways to save money at the expense of employees, and this is one example of what can happen, he said. Port General Manager Rory Respicio said he would reserve comment on the accident until the completion of an internal investigation. The injured worker remains hospitalized at GMH. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
Roger on that. Mostly cloudy this morning, Kevin, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. And for a lot of people, that's what woke you up today. Never mind the alarm. South winds around 10 miles an hour, becoming southwest tonight. Highs around 87 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 79 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:52. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:01. Let me see if I can get the weather radar up on the screen. Michael Knight, give you an idea of just how busy it is out there on the screens.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff down to the south and east. It looks like we're kind of seeing a bit of a circulation get started here, but it's not going to turn out to be much. And this is all part of the weak monsoon trough that we were talking about last week. A couple of bits of good news, of changes, as you might guess, because things are always changing. We are looking at probably less rainfall this week than they were forecasting at the end of last week, so probably only about 3 inches or so between now and Wednesday, and then things should die off and go back to isolated showers. Go into the radar here, you look, and boy, you see a pretty big mass of rainfall moving towards us, coming in from the east-northeast. That should start to affect us within the next hour and a half or so, so get ready for that heavy drive. If you drive to work between, say, 7 and 9, get ready for a wet one. So, and this is just going to slide on throughout the day today, and that's what's bringing us those scattered showers. There you see Guam in the pointer there, and that big blob down there to our south and southeast. Again, this is going to slowly work its way to the west. It's getting sucked up into what is becoming a bit of a organized circulation far to the west out near the Philippines. 98W Invest, which has actually been identified by the Japan Meteorological Agency as a weak tropical depression. Well, when that happens, they tend to kind of focus things in and drag all the weather into it. The circulation deepens, and so things just kind of get sucked into it. And that's really what's kind of happening here, and that's kind of why this is not going to go on as long as they were anticipating, because development of this other system wasn't really anticipated last week. Looks like that'll happen now. So today, tomorrow, most of the rain will fall, and then by Wednesday, things will start to look like it did last week.
I know it's kind of a long range because we're talking about Saturday and Sunday, and today is only Monday. Grill marks for the weekend? Do you think it's going to be
it's way
still too early for that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so maybe around Wednesday we'll get caught up and find out what the weather forecast is going to be like.
A
lot of outdoor activity. PME are going to be performing on Saturday night. And of course, we got the parade and the festivities, including fireworks, all day on Sunday. So they'd like to have some dry conditions for that so we can get maximum crowds out there. All right, but that's the forecast we got for you. Expect scattered showers today and tomorrow. Weak monsoon trough is working its way through our region in the Marianas. 6:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
It's the Ray Gibson Show, brought to you by our friends over at Ruby Tuesdays. The best starters, lunch, and dinners, priced to please on a brand new Ruby Tuesdays favorite menu. Dips and wings and burgers and tacos and steaks and salmon. Those come with toppers on them as well. Available for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday, Guam. Never been a better time to go solar, he says, while it's raining at your house. It's all right, because even if it's cloudy and rainy, it still make a little bit of electricity, but they've got battery systems now. They'll keep the lights on. 632-2613 gets you a free consultation. Also brought to you by American President Lines, APL global presence with a local home. And it is still this summer of Jeep at Cars Plus. Sale ends at the end of the month, so you've still got time, though, to get a test drive in on the Grand Cherokee, the regular Cherokee, the Compass, or special parking only for Wrangler Jeep customers. Find out more at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I'm just, taking care of a little bit of pre-show business that was taking a little bit too long to do the other way. So here I am. I'm having a hard time, and I don't know. Maybe you are too, or maybe it's just something I got to reboot, and I'm just too lazy to do it. But I'm unable to on my browser, on my regular Chrome browser, unable to click on anything. And I don't know, it's weird, because normally you get the arrow, the little thing, and then it turns into a finger when you're allowed to tap on something and follow a link, and it won't let me do it, and it's making me crazy.
Which, by the way, is much different than the finger you get here.
Right. No, I got you completely. So anyway, that's got me. Do you want to save the password? No, don't do that. And stand by one, because I got to switch browsers, because there's all these people that are typing me stuff on the Facebook Live, and I can't respond to them because it won't give me the little gizmo.
Yeah, probably after the show. You need to clean the cache in the browser and maybe even do a disk defrag.
Dude, it's Monday. I got no cache on me whatsoever.
Yeah, me
just absolutely crazy.
I got quartered.
We were talking about that as we get together in the morning, and how was the weekend? Is just long enough or too long? And in my case, I want to say it went by pretty quick. There was a lot going on, a lot of activities to take place, to participate in, including. And it's so crazy about this. I did my fast hiking routine with my buddies on Saturday down in Agate.
How's your foot?
Still, it's the same. It's the same. I mean, it's going to be.
Well, if they hadn't taken away the CBD, it would be better.
Well, but there's news on that. Well, I'll share with you in a couple of seconds. But anyway, so I'm up in the hills of Agate. Do you know what's up there?
Hills?
There's a crashed Japanese Zero.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Oh, there's kind of not much to look at now.
Sure,
I mean, scraps of debris, and you get the big propeller there. And if you've got a sharp enough eye, and thankfully I do, you can find there is still the machine gun. One of the machine guns on the Zero is still right there. And you can pick it up, and you can hold it. And I did, and naturally, because we were fast hiking, nobody had a dang camera, so it's just it's just one of those things in my memory. I'll tell you the secret. There's even some unexploded ordnance up there. But one of my fast hiking buddies is an actual EOD dude, and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about that. Just don't touch it or ever look at it, and you should be absolutely safe." Anyway, 6:19 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK is my telephone number. You can also talk to Michael Knight if you want to call in on that line as well. And then, of course, we got the amazing Kevin Kerrigan here in the studio from the Guam Daily Post. And I love Mondays, and you know why? Because that means I get to catch up on 3 days worth of Daily Post, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So all of the topics, well, not all of it, some of the topics that will arise in this morning's conversation will be arisen from actual seedlings of topics that come from the Guam Daily Post and some of the stories that Kevin and his team over there at the place have written about. Again, 888-8255-888-TALK. You can also send me stuffs on the WhatsApp, because we're a technologically foot-forward radio station, and if it's digital, if it's social technology, if you're using it, then I want to be able to use it as well. And we have, in fact, got some great footage of things to show you here this morning. And I don't know about the audio on this one. It's probably clean. It's probably been sanitized. But still, I wouldn't play the audio on this, Mike. This is the video of the Coast Guard takedown. If you're watching on Facebook Live, this is the video of the Coast Guard takedown of this this submarine that they were using. What, a couple $100 million worth of drugs in this, and so you got the guy in the fast Coast Guard boat, and they're going to run alongside this submarine. It also looks like it's moving pretty quick. Now you want to talk about your various forms of heroism, and so we got this guy in a Costa uniform that is going to jump from one fast-moving boat onto the other one. You see that here in a second. And this is just one of those. I love America. I think this is great. And now he's riding. He's bucking the Bronco there. And just bang on the door, bang on the door of the submarine until somebody opens it. And you're busted now. I've caught you. I'm actually riding you here on the thing. And sure enough, it opened the door and has effected an arrest. I love this. I love the way that you've got access to the technology, and then you send it over to me here at the radio station, and then I get to share it with everybody else.
Coast Guard kind of gets a rap for being, the little guys. But I want to tell you something. My My grandfather was in the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
You don't mess with coasties.
No,
when Coast Guard, you get a one-shot warning off the bow. That's it. And if you don't do what they say, they will sink your vessel. Period.
Or in the very least, go for a ride on it. 6:22 in the morning. Let me give you another piece of video that was sent to me. Now, you know what? Let's do something else. Let's first welcome aboard the more important people that we've got listening on Facebook Live.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
And around here, everybody knows Ismail's name. First on the list, followed by Anita Muffness. And if you see it on the Facebook Live there, you get the Valentine's eyes there. That's so pretty. Sandra De Leon Guerrero says, happy Monday. It's Moo Monday. And we're calling it Moo Monday because I'm kind of looking around at some of the headlines here saying there's got to be a fatted calf that we ought to be able to sacrifice here. So I'm be looking around for something like that this morning. If you've got any ideas on any of the fatted calves, however you want to define them in this town, by all means, put it down in a message or send it up to me one way or the other. So where was I? Sandra De Leon Guerrero, Tom Tahadzi's online. Good morning, buddy. Good to have, let me see, John Ray, and there's Nick Perlosky. Pam is up and online early. Pam is the one that sends me, she loves to send me images of... images, if you will, of the sunrise over at her place. And even though it's kind of an unspectacular picture as sunrises go, it is the marker that the sun did come up in the Jigo area today.
Yeah,
we do have a reminder that it's there.
Yeah, a bit muted this morning as it's trying to stare through about 25 miles of clouds.
Exactly. So that's what we got happening up there, but appreciate the effort. Who else is playing around with me? Joe Blas, Dennis Bensour is online. Tony and Dan and Pinko Ada's there, and Don Regis. Dwayne Santa says, good morning, Toto Hamzul. Well, good morning, Hamzulok was there. Eric Mendel says, Hafa Zen Tirao from Saipan. Nice, Eric. I appreciate you being up there and tuning in. This is like ham radio or CB radio at its best. Heather Paris saying her buenos is there. Let's lots to talk about today. $400,000 worth of stuff that we get to talk about today. Bandits online saying Ramon. Cousin Tommy Barcenas is there. Ray Cruz, Richard Leon. And Richard Leon is already fit for a fight. Says, watched Wimbledon's finale. Great historical match. It all had the necessary elements to make for drama and a great battle. And Guam Sin actors and past and present leaders still learning the Pari connection and familia name Politrix handbook flops. And still thumb-sucking. Just saying.
Talk about a hard left turn.
Yep.
I mean, he goes from one thing, just eep. Hey, by the way.
That's all right. Yeah, well, it's perfect for this program, isn't it?
Right, I guess so.
Just go one random thought careening into another one. Eric McKinnon says, good morning, Guam. Lillian Cruz going buenas. I see Linda Gabriel and Rosemarie Ogo is online. Sabine B. Natsargaloff is sending her good morning wishes. What a great way to start a week, huh? Don't you think? Remember when World War II ordnances used by local fishermen and maimed individuals? Yes, I do, which is why I followed the instructions of my EOD buddy and tried to avoid as much as possible stepping on any of that UXOs out there. But I think the guy made the noise like it was inert. Nothing was going to happen with it, no matter what. It's just because it's been exposed to the elements or something like that for far too long. Randy Kruger's there. Chuck Tanner's online this morning. Nice to see you. And Rosemary's doing the buenas all the way from Fort Hood, Texas. Nice. It's 6:26 in the morning. So, items in the table of contents, as I say, it's Monday, and that means that there's a ton of stuff, literally, that we get to go forward and play around with, up to and including the CBD. I printed it out, but I think I left it on the printer. Maybe in the break I'll go get it. But one of the big stories that started to churn on Friday and it was, I think, finally made print on Saturday is the governor of Guam, Lilian Guerrero. I cannot no longer anymore say that, it's 6 months into this new administration and nothing good has come out of it yet, because something good has come out of this administration. And it is the fact that for my aches and pains, for what ails me these days, I am able now to go to practically any retail location on Guam and get my hands on some CBD. Some of the cannabinoid-based oil solvents, whatever, the tinctures that they've got, the sublinguals that they've got, and the lotions that they have. The governor acted and said, gee, it's nice that everybody else is dealing with this and trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing with the federal government and who's going to be enforcing what around here. But I'm the governor of Guam, and I like the CBD oils, and everybody around here likes the CBD oils. So guess what? Everybody that had their CBD oils that were confiscated, you're going to go ahead and get those back, and we'll all be very, very happy and pain-free once again. I want to thank, she said, the directors of Customs and Quarantine and Public Health for their diligence on the issue of CBD products on our island. I also want to thank retailers and consumers for their patience as we work through the complex and changing regulations governing CBD. After careful review by my office and in consultation with the Attorney General, we intend to release the seized CBD products by our customs agency while still ensuring we adhere to all federal and local law and regulations. Now, how you're able to do both of those kinds of things, I don't know, because I thought that the nature was the very complex and changing nature of it would be that there were things that seemed to conflict. We are here in a world where we've got legalized recreational use of marijuana, we've got legalized medicinal use of marijuana, but that flies in the face of federal rules and regulations that some people were apparently still following. And hence the confiscations, the grabbing of the CBD. But what the heck? We'll sprinkle some, in this case, not legislative fairy dust on it, but we're going to sprinkle some loo dust on it, and then we're just going to make it so that we're looking the other way. We're just going to look the other, and it's okay with me. I'm all right. I'm not crazy about the federal regulations on marijuana and THC and all of that. I fully anticipate that one of these days it's going to change. I don't know when, but it's eventually going. It'll be April the 20th, no matter what, at 4:20 or something. But they'll find a way to institute that kind of a change, and we won't have to worry about this kind of thing anymore. We will, however, and something that Jerry Roberts, he and I will talk about this a little bit later on. He and I were talking on Friday about CBDs. Now I have a CBD. I've got a couple of CBD oils that Ike Pareto didn't know about, so they're still safely tucked away at my house. I'm probably going to get raided now. But I've got this the CBD oils at the house. And Jerry asked a pretty interesting question. He says, well, how much of that CBD oil is CBD? What concentration of it? I mean, it could be, for all intents and purposes, be a bottle of Jergens lotion with, I don't know, whispering CBD in it.
It should say on the bottle exactly what the percentage is.
What the percentage of the deal is. I don't know that I've seen that on the bottle, and frankly,
it's going to be the tiny, usually tiny bottles with bitty print, so it's kind of hard to see.
Bigger glasses than these, I think I need to be able to sort all of that stuff out, and so it's one of those questions that I suppose the consumers will have to figure out one of these days. In the meantime, if you're anxious for the CBD stuff, my guess is that as soon as they can get those things back to the retailers, up to and including Payless. Because they have apparently a big CBD section that was rated as well. But as soon as they get all that stuff sorted out, you should be able to go out and buy the CBD. And maybe you're one of those people that never knew anything about it before. Maybe hear me talking about it. It's only been in the last couple of months that it's even been in the vocabulary of this morning show. But if you're one of the people that have decided that you'd like to give it a try, but then were unhappy because they confiscated it before you had a chance, well, follow through on it because you now have the opportunity to do all of that. What do we got here? I've got a bunch of paperwork. Thank you, Michael, for going out there and grabbing the papers from the printer for me, because there's some interesting things in here, up to and including, we've really got to get a handle on this community. Over the weekend, you might have noticed on Facebook and a bunch of places, there were folks that were just really applauding. The Chukis community came out, and some of the squalor apparently around the Hemlani apartments, or one of the Hemlani apartments, got cleaned up. And there's people on the Facebook, and you got Senator so-and-so with his thumbs up and saying this is absolutely great, and we got to highlight all of the good things that members of this community do. And while they're doing that over the weekend, police called to a couple of different riots conducted by 1, 2, 3, 4 of these drunk migrant youths that managed, with pipes, with slingshots. And just kind of drunk, and they got in trouble one place, jumped in their car, and got in trouble someplace else until the cops finally caught up with DK Joywell and Yos and Mace and Akaf Yos. So it looks like a couple of brothers that might be spending a little bit of time behind bars over the weekend for their drunken frivolity.
Guess his joy really wasn't that well, was it?
Yeah. I was working on a punchline for that name. We'll work on it together some more. Where are we, 6:32 already in the morning? All right, headlines now from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. The island community is invited to the Chamorro Village this Wednesday to do the electric slide with the Department of Chamorro Affairs President Anne Marie Arceo. Arceo said there's been a misconception about her recent remarks to promote indigenous culture at the Chamorro Village, saying, "I apologize for the misunderstanding." She said people were asking her why they couldn't play the electric slide or do the electric slide anymore and why lumpia couldn't be sold at the Chamorro Village. "I want to clarify, we're not excluding anything or anybody," said Arceo on Friday. She said her intentions were pure. She wanted to celebrate Chamorro culture and maximize the opportunity for visitors to experience that culture at the Chamorro Village, but not to the exclusion of all other cultures that make up Guam. 90-year-old former Guam resident and retired Guam DOE teacher died from injuries sustained when 3 men broke into her Maui condominium last month. It happened June 20th, according to a report by Hawaii News Now. Jacqueline Oberheim was in her condo when the trio broke into her home and physically assaulted and robbed her. She later died from her injuries. 3 suspects have been arrested. They are now facing murder charges, according to the Hawaii News Now report. Darlene Moore, a friend of Oberheim's who lives in Manila, sent an email to the Guam Daily Post noting that Oberheim was a longtime resident of Guam and her children were raised here. About $4.6 million in tax refund checks are being mailed out today by the Department of Administration. 1,433 checks in all will be issued for error-free tax returns filed on or before February 8th. As always, taxpayers who have unpaid fines owed to the Guam judiciary or who owe money to Guam Memorial Hospital will have their tax refund checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
6:34, Kevin. That's iConnect's time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn how they're going to save you money on mobile and internet plans.
Get 2 Pepsi 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12 pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Hey, grab your own Wendy's Berry Burst Chicken Salad. It's got strawberries. It's got blueberries in it. We've got sliced almonds, feta cheese, and if you want it that way, grilled chicken. You can also have it with the spicy fried one. Have it the way you like it with my friends over at Wendy's.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Hey, you're looking for something to celebrate today. It is Melina Montanotnia's birthday up in the Central Highlands of MTM celebrating today. And there could be some celebration tonight. I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on the Maka WhatsApp and see what happens there. 6:36 in the morning, looking at traffic right now. The traffic gizmo is not signaling any problems, although we anticipate that there's going to be some slowing down over at the intersections and a little bit more slowing down as it begins to rain harder. We showed you the weather radar not that long ago, and it is still showing at this view. It is still showing the fact that there's going to be some cloudage that's going to be coming in, and it's going to be slowing your drive down. No kidding. Watch out for it. I've refreshed the radar so you can see it on the screen on Facebook Live, and it looks like any minute now we ought to start to see on the eastern side of the island, we ought to see some rain's going to wash right over the top of it.
Yeah, my estimate might have been a little late in terms of the time. It looks like this is going to come through here in the next hour.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens on the back side of that. But this is some pretty heavy and steadily heavy rains. So we can probably expect some street flooding, especially down Lower Tumon, where it always floods, and in
Yeah.
other areas where you have a susceptibility to flood.
Well, construction already at Polaris Point, so that slows things down to begin with. But construction around there and some of the flooding that'll occur along Polaris Point area could slow you down if you're thinking about that's the way you need to get to work if you're coming into it and around Big Navy and the PD area. 6:37 in the morning. So watch out for that. And I don't want to call this particular demon because I hate having to deal with it. But sometimes you get some of these heavier winds and heavier rains that are coming in with that weather could have an effect on power and street lights and things like that. So prepare. 6:37. That's right now traffic here on the Point.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Yep, getting some guidance on Melina's birthday celebrations. It looks like we're going to be throwing her a parade on Sunday. So happy birthday to you, Melina. Got anybody else celebrating a birthday? The Facebook alive all weekend long with birthday celebrations and greetings to Uncle Robert Underwood, who announced on this program Friday morning that he was indeed going to be celebrating another birthday. So happy birthday, belated birthday to you, Uncle Robert. You want to do a couple of other belated birthdays? Just because I've got it in front of me and it's worth talking about. Richard Simmons, as in Flaming Richard Simmons, the workout guy. You remember from the 1980s. With the big Jufro, right? So he is celebrating today 71 years. He's 71 years old over the weekend. Cheryl Ladd from Charlie's Angels. Anybody want to venture a guess as to how old Cheryl Ladd is? And it will be, I'll give you the number, but it will be impossible in your head because you will still and always think of Cheryl Ladd the same way that we did back in, again, the 70s and 80s with that version of Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I want to say she's well into her 60s, I think.
68 years old, as a matter of fact. Here's another one. It kind of in the other direction, and it was about 20 years ago that I used to watch this guy in the 70s show and thinking he was never, ever going to get old. Topher Grace is celebrating 41 over the... right? Topher Grace, the kid from that 70s show. They made a couple of other interesting movies. They always played the same kind of character. You know, the same kind of smart alecky, light beer drinking dude. You know what I mean? But he's celebrating. He's 41 years old today, and I'm looking at a couple of other names that I don't necessarily recognize. Rachel Brosnahan, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is 29 years old, and Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and Furious movies and Lost. She always plays the same kind of character, you know? She always plays that same kind of woman. Anyway, she's 41 as well.
Yeah. She's always like the tough street girl, you know?
Yeah,
Cute as heck.
I get it. But like I said, it's kind of the same character. Anyway, 888-8255, 888-TALK. Let me just take a quick look at the Facebook Live and make sure I've got all the names right. Mo Cotton is here. We can start, Kevin. Mo Cotton's online. Veronica Jean Lujan is there. Hello, pretty. Lou Barrett is online this morning. I got Rico Blancafor, James Schmidt, Vivian Cunningham is online. So is Tommy Martinez Aguero, who's hailing from all the way in Port Orchard, Washington. And who we got? Ken LG says, should call the Lieutenant Governor administration the yo-yo administration. Oh, LGT. Oh, I see. I thought you were saying Lieutenant Governor. So LG/T, the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, the yo-yo administration. First they love, first they love, the heck are you writing? First, they loved Jan Leon Guerrero, and then they didn't. Then they wanted to give Guam YTK millions of dollars. They didn't. Then they wanted to develop. Okay, you're going to need to call in and explain this because it's not making any sense just from my plain reading of the language. Andre Bainham's online. The other pundit, Roy Gamboa, who has arranged for the guys from what is the name of the meat packers out in Nebraska are apparently in town for another round of interviews and application seeking. So they're going to be actually probably in the studio tomorrow to talk about it on the radio. That I think will be interesting to learn about number one, their business, and number two, the kind of work that people from here are able to do once they get there, and why they're in such a high demand. Jim Adkins is online, not that one, the other one. Rick Leone is there. Nick Perlowski, the open mouth insert foot administration. It was tricky, right? Because the first thing that we start hearing through the grapevine is that there have been all kinds of changes that they want to make over at the what currently is a part of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, and that is the Chamorro Village. And they wanted to make it only the Chamorro Village. That's it. We're not doing any cha-cha slide or electric slide or any of that stuff. And we're only going to sell food from that was around here before Magellan came to Guam. And apparently that was all misinterpreted. The word I think they wanted to use was probably exaggerated, but what the heck? We are your exaggeration station. But they've since kind of walked that backwards as a result, I think, of the public outcry from peoples, among them even the Chamorros and Manumco, saying, whoa, time out here. Even though we weren't dancing to these songs before Magellan got here, we like them now. So we'd like to dance to them now at this point in time at our Sagan Denanya, the get-together place over at the Chamorro Village. Anyway, so that in my mind is one of the more amusing things that has happened in the last couple of days. Dita Camarillo is there, Randy Kruger out in North Dakota is where I was thinking of. Where these guys are coming in from. Bennett, Lujan, Duenas, and others online this morning as we play around with what some of the more interesting topics are. 888-8255, 888-TALK if you want to hang out with me. So we got Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, who is back from the Chiefs meeting out in Chuk. I guess it was in Chuk, right? And the answer to the question is, did you bring any money home with you? That ought to be the sole reason for anybody like the governor of Guam to ever have to leave the island is to go to someplace, i.e. Washington, D.C., and pick up the check and come back to Guam. In my mind, that is effective use of the time and materials and mileage required to get that job done without any kind of criticism. But, yeah, I don't know, hang out with the Chiefs. And the question that I've got, and maybe it's just me being, cynical, that guy yakking on the radio. The question that I have is has anybody ever come back? Any governor if you want to go back to Carl Gutierrez and Joe Ada and those guys, has anybody ever gone to one of these like Chiefs get-togethers and brought anything worthwhile back? Just, some that's worth the price of the mimosa when you step into first class on the airplane. Has anybody ever gone off someplace and come back with anything more substantial than a refrigerator magnet? What do you think, Ken?
Oh, while I was on hold, I wasn't able to hear your conversation.
Oh,
I don't know where you are at the moment.
I don't know why that is. I'll push a button someplace and find out. But no, I was talking about the governor going off, the other governor, Leon Guerrero, the one in Adelup, going off to Chuk. It's a Chiefs convention, right?
Well, it's all part of her plan to be the first governor of Guam to hit 1 billion air travel miles at taxpayer expense. She's all on this thing about first. Well, this is another one. I mean, in 6 months, look how many trips she's taken. I never thought.
Didn't Felix had a Felix put a lot of mileage on his car too, didn't he?
Yeah, but not until the end of his administration.
Oh.
He did the final year. He did the Felix Camacho World Tour.
Yep.
Trying to establish sister city relationships with Oslo, Norway, and things like that. But my comment that confused you was, if we look at the history of this administration, right off the bat, they announced that General Roderick Leon Guerrero was going to be the adjutant general, and then they changed their mind.
Right.
And then Ray Tapazna came out with this plan to develop a high-rise Gura facility on the senior at Tumon.
Yeah.
Citizens. And then they changed their mind. And then they had this sweeping plan to Chamorroize Chamorro Village, and then they changed their mind. So it seems like every major policy announcement coming out of the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, I just use LGT's because by the time I get through typing on a smartphone, my fingers are, just. So then it's like every major policy announcement that's coming out is coming out quickly with a 180 slant to the previous press release.
Well, maybe if we're very lucky, then they'll follow that and give $400,000 either back to the people over at CAHA, and I don't know if you've seen the Post editorial this morning. Wrong to use CAHA money for a 100-member Guam delegation. We're going to send 100 people to the FESPAC in Hawaii. When Guam was doing the FESPAC, only sent a couple of dozen people here. So why do we need to have such a large delegation going off to $4,000 a head going off to FESPAC? Why do we spend money we don't have to impress people that don't live here?
Well, it goes back to the long list of political supporters that still haven't been rewarded. And this is one way of rewarding those lower down the food chain. You can't give everybody a director position because there's only 54 of them. You can't give everybody an assistant director position because there's only 54 of them. So how do you reward the hundreds of other people that haven't gotten a director or deputy director or a revitalized agency or something like that? You put them all on an all-expense paid trip to stay at the Four Seasons in Honolulu for, a week or two?
Well, as long as I get a refrigerator magnet out of it, I'll be all right.
Well, you'll probably be the only one to get something out of it, other than the 100 people that are going to be going.
Yeah, well, then, so I just, I hate to be one of those guys, like crack down on travel, but I've got a feeling that there needs to be somebody besides you and me and Jimmy Moylan saying we need to crack down on all of this travel here. We've got real work that needs to get done here on Guam. I mean, right opposite of the editorial from the guys over at the Guam Daily Post is an editorial contribution from Lee Weber, talking about how tough crime is on Guam, and there's a story I was starting to read up on about these four drunk kids out in Tamuning, of all places. GPO, the guy driving around just minding his own business, and one of these kids throws a beer can at him, and so he starts to look like he needs to defend himself because all four of these kids pile out of the car, and one of them tries to smack him in the head with a pipe.
Well, it just goes to the fact that since the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration has come in, even a die-hard gun control freak like me has changed his position 180 degrees because we see the crime rate escalating. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where we're pushing government trips off the front page with the catch and release and the latest arrest program. So it goes back. I want to go back to the comment you made earlier about Jimmy Moylan. And, this is a time when government of Guam should be looking at every opportunity to save money in every way. I tried to turn in some documents to the court, and they rejected them because I printed double-sided. Now, just think about that.
What?
I printed double-sided. They said, no, you can only submit documents that are single-sided.
Because?
I mean, they couldn't tell me why, It just doubled my cost and stuff like that. But it goes back to, saving pennies eventually saves dollars. And when you look at how many pennies government of Guam is spending, let's see, what was it, 100 billion pennies? Yeah, I think it's about right. $1 billion equals 100 billion pennies. And if every Department of Government of Guam just started focusing on pennies. And I'll give you an example. You can drive through Agana and Tamuning, and you see all these Government of Guam offices that are still lit up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Why don't they turn out the lights?
Because then the pilots won't be able to find Guam at night.
That's a valid reason. And remember, the last time we turned out the lights, a B-52 mistakenly landed at NAS, and they had to take the wings off it to tow it up to Anderson Air Force Base because the runway wasn't long enough for it to take off from NAS. So you have a valid point there.
There you go. See, I'm just trying to help here. So in Saturday's post, I'm sure that you saw this and loved it. Mayor's asking to spend $1 million more.
Yeah, I've got comments all over that on Facebook too, because I mean, $1 million, and that's And when you look through their budget, $922,000 to beautify the roadsides of the villages. You know how you beautify the roadsides of the villages? You take all the junk cars.
Junk cars off the side of them. Yeah, tell people to mow your yard. Get rid of the junk in your yard. Council Executive Director Angel Sablan said Guam's 19 villages altogether have 214 employees, including the 19 village mayors, 7 vice mayors, 10 classified central office staff, and himself. So they're asking for $13.8 million for the budget, of which salaries and benefits would be about $10 million of that. So leaving $3 million for them to divvy up among all of the villages to actually do the work.
If we eliminate the Mayor's Council of Guam, we eliminate about $300,000 in payroll and benefits. We eliminate the rental, the utilities. We eliminate 6 cars that are assigned to an office that has 7 people. You know, right off the bat, we could save taxpayers $500,000.
Yeah, but you know the senators. You know that they all kowtow. I think they're afraid of the mayors, and I don't understand why. I mean, there's a whole bunch of mayors that backed the wrong player in the last gubernatorial election. So clearly, it's not like they've got all the power needed to be able to anoint somebody into Adelup. So I don't or the legislature. So I don't understand why there's so much of that butt kissing going on.
Well, I think that when we start the village meetings, it's 2 phases. There's a State of the Island address that I will be giving, and it's based on all the research I've been doing into government of Guam for the past 6 months.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about the different initiatives that we're going to be putting into play to reform government of Guam, since we can't count on the legislature to introduce any policies. I mean, the Romeo and Juliet, really? Seriously? I mean, the first 90 days of this legislature, their primary concerns were the corporate welfare for Guam Regional Medical Center, the Romeo and Juliet, legalizing cannabis, and giving the mayors the exclusive license for legalized gambling.
I recall. Well, tell you what, we'll save the rest of the conversation for another day. I just was wondering what it was that you were talking about in there, but obviously got a better sense of it now. So you run along and do some more research and write some more kill, death hit pieces for the newspapers.
Will do.
Thank you, buddy. 654-888-8255. 888-TALK is my number around here. That's right, Ken. Beautify, pick up the trash, cut the grass, and jungle creeping up into the roads. There you go. And another tip for you from Pam: pick up the trash before you cut the grass. Before you get out there with your big ride-alongs from Home Depot, pick up the trash. That way, when the machine goes over them, we don't have big piles of trash turning into countless strands of trash and grass all the way around there. It's the same thing that you would do at your house if you were going to be cutting the grass, and pick up some of that debris first. Anyway, 6:55 in the morning, 888-8255, 888-TALK. What else is there that we can get all frowny-faced about? Is there good news? I don't know. I don't know how to define this. It's a funny video. I haven't heard the audio on this one either, Mike, so I'm going to ask you to keep it down. So it is a video that somebody sent over the weekend of what looks like. You ever watch that show when it was on? I don't. It's one of those things that everybody said it was like the least classy thing there was ever done with video cameras. It was bum fights. Did you ever watch bum fights when that was popular? I'd seen a couple episodes, and basically it's snotty rich kids going out into the boondocks and looking for homeless people and bums and making them fight for money and booze. Like I said, just the absolute worst kind of television programming there was, and I'm sure there's lots of you that saw every single one of the episodes saying, how terrible is this? Is there another one of these that I can watch? Anyway, that's bum fights. If you Google it, you might still be able to find it. So I'm watching this video here, and it occurs to me that it reminds me of that old bum fights video from back in the day. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Just a reminder, kids, when you're shooting video, try to shoot video in a more of a horizontal plane. So we've got it looks like 2 migrants there. It's maybe a husband and wife team, and she is just going to town on this guy. I don't know what he said or did, or maybe he was looking at another drunk migrant lady and said, oh boy, like the papayas there, and his girlfriend got mad and then started pulling his hair. in the street in front of the Cathedral Basilica.
On the upside, he did not hit her back.
But for more of the same, she's smacking him around and
Yeah.
pulling
And
his
he's
hair.
just taking it. He's taking it
Yeah.
like a man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to give him credit for that.
Right out there in public, just literally steps away from the police precinct.
If she were a foot taller, she'd have flipped him over.
Yeah. Because they're small but powerful.
Yeah.
And
angry.
deliver babies standing up. I mean, that's some real tough stuff there. Anyway, so one of the more interesting things, obviously, that crossed my my video here and the WhatsApp. You've got some more of that interesting stuff. You know what to do with it. Closing in on the top of the hour here, and Fox News Live is going to be coming up, and then we've got Kevin Kerrigan with the news. It is a Monday. Jerry Roberts is going to be back in the studio, and as I said, we might spend a little bit of time talking about his research and experience into CBDs now that the governor has released them all and has decided that, yeah, you know what, CBD, of all of the things, and I'm going to give him credit for this because I think it really became a constituent issue. I think it really became something that irked people, and it looked like they were not sure if the governments were talking to each other. You got people on one side saying there's nothing wrong with it. You got people on the other side that's actually confiscating the stuff, and we're going, none of this makes any kind of sense. Well, Lulian Guerrero steps in and said, this is the sense that we need to make of it. I want all of the CBD products returned to where they came from. Hope you kept receipts. Send it all back, and we'll work together moving forward on trying to come up with something that is at least coherent.
In terms of the fiscal aspect of it, think about all that money they wasted confiscating CBD products, and now have to spend more money giving it back.
Yeah. Well, it's taxpayer dollars, not theirs. So, there is that. So, and what about the dollars, the revenue that were lost, the business privilege taxes, et cetera, that were lost because these products were not being sold in places where they would normally have been sold and then eventually consumed. At any rate, so we got that and a few other things to talk about. Does it feel like there's any more money floating around? I haven't got the running total on this. I had it last week. I might be able to find it now. But there's $4.6 million in tax refunds that are going out just in time for Liberation. So I want to see you wearing your new Zoris to the Liberation festivities on Sunday, because you've got your tax refunds. $48 million worth of, is that, no, it's still not right. It was 57.7 last week, and that was with the addition of $3 million. So we should be, at this point, over $60 million in tax refunds that have gone out since they started writing checks over at the Department of Administration. So it could be one of those days. If you filed on or before February the 8th, today could be the day that you are actually smiling when you leave the post office. It's not all that often where there's an envelope inside of it with money going in your direction. I wish you good luck. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. My name is Ray Gibson. And Kevin Kerrigan, like I said, is coming up with Guam Daily Post news on the other side of Fox News. That's live right now.
Don't call them raids. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. White House advisor Kellyanne Conway calls them enforcement actions. But federal immigration agents are rounding up people in 10 U.S. cities who are in this country illegally.
Advocates right now have immigrants on high alert. They set up phone trees and hotlines. Lawyers are on call. The governor of California, several mayors have said, don't answer the door and don't answer ICE questions. The administration, however, argues this population had their opportunity. They were given due process. Only 3% responded when they were given a second chance to stay. Now their time is up.
Fox's William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. Democrats say the administration is using scare tactics to energize the president's base because he failed to build his border wall. Sunday tweets by the president drawing widespread criticism. Reading them here, Fox's Ellison Barber.
So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back and show us how it is done? These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements.
Michigan Congressman Justin Amash, a former Republican, calling the tweets racist and disgusting. A day after Hurricane Barry made landfall near Marsh Island, Louisiana, it's still causing problems. Now a tropical depression moving into Arkansas, the system dumping heavy rains, flash flood watches and warnings, along with tornado warnings. This is Fox News.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
More than 2,000 federal prison inmates about to be released.
Attorney General William Barr toured a prison in South Carolina this past week, meeting with inmates and staff to learn about reentry and other prison programs under the First Step Act, a sweeping criminal justice overhaul which was signed into law last year. The Justice Department and Federal Bureau of Prisons are working to create risk assessment tools that will help to evaluate inmates and could speed up their release. Barr said both agencies are all in terms of making it work. But some criminal justice advocates say the Trump administration and Congress need to be more fully committed to implementing the law and making sure there's appropriate oversight. Sal Giangrasso, Fox News.
J-Lo telling fans she's sorry last night's concert was cut short.
I just want you guys to know that you're going to get your money's worth, that we are going to come back and we're going to do an amazing show for you.
New York's Madison Square Garden going dark last night along with other Manhattan landmarks. More than 70,000 customers blacked out. Mayor Bill de Blasio says he is certain
this was not a cyber attack, and this was not an act of physical terrorism.
The mayor was campaigning in Iowa during the blackout. Got some criticism for that. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer calling for a federal investigation. J-Lo's concert rescheduled for tomorrow night. So is this concert. Mick Jagger referring to that song lyric in a tweet yesterday. The Rolling Stones concert at the New Orleans Superdome moved to Monday because of Barry. Save your tickets, Jagger tweeting. We'll get through this together. To have a ticket to this match, well, tennis fans got their money's worth. It was a marathon men's final on ESPN. After 5 sets, Novak Djokovic beat Roger Federer 7-6, 1-6, 7-6, 4-6, 13-12. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Get a half-gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half-gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The location of one of the 5 firing ranges to be built on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base has been moved to protect the endangered Cereanthus nelsoni tree. Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield telling a group of Guam lawmakers Friday who visited the location that the multi-purpose machine gun range that has been permanently relocated sufficiently far away from the tree and its saplings in compliance with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Forest buffer zone. According to a news release issued by Joint Region on Friday after the site visit, Chatfield also told the visiting senators that no construction has occurred in the area of the tree yet. Black Construction already started building part of the live fire training range complex under a $78 million contract it got back in August 2017. Chatfield said the contract for construction of the multi-purpose machine gun range near the Cereanthus nelsoni will not be awarded until March of next year. Speaker Tina Munya Barnes requested the site visit on Friday, which was led by Chatfield. The media was not allowed to go along. The governor and acting state preservation officer Patrick Lujan are also expected to visit the same site later this week. Guam DOE officials are working to fill 359 certified public school teacher positions for the upcoming school year. 121 elementary school teacher positions are vacant, along with 194 middle and high school teachers, and 44 special education teachers are needed as well. Guam Federation of Teachers President Sanjay Sharma told the Guam Daily Post that more competitive salaries are needed to help attract and retain teachers on Guam. Starting salary on Guam for a fully certified public school teacher with a bachelor's degree is $34,383. By comparison, a teacher at one of the Department of Defense Dodea schools on island starts at $49,842. Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez agrees that teacher salaries on island are not competitive. In the early 1990s, he said, Guam DOE was able to recruit stateside teachers because back then, Guam teacher salaries were competitive. Salary levels have since stagnated, he said, making it difficult for Guam DOE to recruit and retain teachers. The teacher shortage has become a perennial problem for Guam DOE. Officials held a job fair in June. Some, but not all, of the open positions were filled. We'll have more news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Citing the need for more personnel, the Mayor's Council of Guam has asked lawmakers for a $1.2 million increase in their fiscal 2020 budget, raising its proposed spending total to $13.8 million annually. Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan made the request during the Mayor's Council budget hearing at the legislature last week. The council is requesting a $100,000 increase for a street maintenance and beautification program, which would total $922,423. In addition, the mayors are seeking an appropriation of $240,000 to repair and renovate 12 senior citizen centers in order to fix roof leaks, plumbing issues, and air conditioning problems. The longer we don't attend to these matters, the more costly it will be to fix them, warned Sablan. Sablan also said salaries total $7.1 million plus $2.8 million in benefits for the 214 employees and the 19 village mayors, 7 vice mayors, and 10 classified central office staff at the Mayor's Council of Guam. About $4.6 million in tax refund checks being mailed out today by the Department of Administration. 1,433 checks in all will be sent out for error-free tax returns filed on or before February 8th. As always, taxpayers who have unpaid fines owed to the Guam judiciary or those who owe money to Guam Memorial Hospital will have their tax refund checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
Let's see what we got. Mostly cloudy skies, Kevin, with scattered showers. Isolated thunderstorms are in the forecast for the day, and we're watching the radar here to see just how yucky and snotty the weather is going to be for your commute to the office today. You might just make it. South winds around 10 miles an hour, becoming southwesterly tonight. Highs about 87 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 79 degrees. I got sunset tonight at 6:52. A little bit of a disappointment last night's sunset. It just went down. I was looking at the thing and going, okay, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Any second now, it's going to be, and then there's going to be this big splash of color, and then it just kind of went down, and that was it for the sunset last night. What happened?
Clouds. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. And I must have made a mistake on the forecast. It should be scattered showers.
Scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms is what it says here today. We'll take a look. It doesn't matter what you put this down on paper at 5 o'clock in the morning. It is now 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think the conditions either are changing or are going to change any second now.
Yeah, did you refresh that?
That is a refresh as of 7 o'clock.
Okay, we've got a lot of weird stuff going on here. Let's put it on the screen because I'm a little bit confused by what's happening here, and I'll tell you why. We've got this large area of rainfall coming in from the northeast.
Yep.
That's starting to die out. Again, we're in part of the diurnal cycle here, so we're coming on the cusp of that, between the nighttime and daytime cycle. So those showers coming in from the northeast are starting to die out a little bit. Now I'm watching some rainfall starting to form up, and these are actually some pretty heavy thunderstorms down to our southwest that are going to start coming over the southern parts of the island, and I'm not sure if they're going to continue coming or if they're just going to get swept in by this northeasterly component. Kind of hard to see, but right now I think anywhere from the south up to the central can expect some pretty heavy rain starting in the next hour or so.
We're getting
flanked. Yeah, and then also to the northeast, looks like that area of rainfall not going to be quite as heavy, but it's going to be steady, and it's going to come in and just go boom. And, of course, like you said earlier, when these kind of showers come in, this is all tropical rainfall activity, so you get the winds, you get that kind of thing, and you're going to have power lines down tree branches in some cases, and, of course, the street flooding. Satellite real quick, and, again, we can kind of see the blobage all around us, but nothing shows it better than the radar. All of this stuff will be moving through over the next couple of days, and they say by Wednesday, Thursday, we should be back to the usual isolated shower regime.
I got you. All right, so that's where we are in terms of the weather. We'll go back to the radar real quick. So if you are anywhere near Facebook Live right now, you should be able to see the wind and the rain coming in, definitely from the eastern side, but it looks like it's going to be closing in from the south as well. So we could get into some kind of a squeeze play. The fact of the matter is I don't know, 45 minutes, half hour, something like that. The entire island could be underneath the clouds and seeing some kind of rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And my best guess looking at this right now from my own experience is we're right under this trough. And so that's why we have these southwesterly winds coming in from the south side and then these northeasterly winds coming in from the north. Literally a counterclockwise elongated circulation.
Yep. That's what we got. I know it's a lot of weather there, but we're worried about people that maybe have forgotten how to drive in the rain. It's 7:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
What? I got to read stuff? All right, fine. I got a list there. It's all in front of me now. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by our pals over at Ruby Tuesdays, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 4 to 6. And then all day Tuesday, select draft beers, wines, sangrias, or an RT Tipsy Palmer or a Ruby Relaxer for $5 or love the sound. It's a relaxer. What do? One of these things, and then pow, you are relaxed. Check us for happy hour tonight at Ruby Tuesday, Guam. Never been a better time to go solar. Even when it rains, you can still have electricity because you got a battery system. They're available on Guam at Micronesia Renewable Energy. Call them at 632-2613 for a free consultation. Also brought to you by American President Line's global presence with a local home. My understanding is that there are some president and vice president level people from APL. If they're not here, they will be in the next 24 hours. Got a lot to celebrate and may find themselves into the studio. I think they're comfortable with me. Portions of the program finally brought to you by Cars Plus, where they're celebrating the endless summer of Jeep. The Jeep Wrangler. Get your hands on the wheel of a brand new Jeep Wrangler. That's something specific and something fun for you to drive around with. You start to see more and more of them. And have you ever seen an unhappy, frowny-faced Jeep driver? You know why? Doesn't happen because they are happy people. Become a happy person by test driving and then buying one today over at Cars Plus. Then get it insured over at Nanbo Insurance, right? Because the guys over at Nanbo happy to bring you into the fold for your Jeep and your motorcycles and you and the family and the business and the house. You can save up to 50% at Nanbo Insurances with their Bundle Up plan, 477-9754.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Start with the bad news. Tapas is back over $70 for a barrel, and I hate that. It was trading like in the mid 60s. Started to trend upward. It was at $68.60 on Friday. Today, trading at $70.35, 60.21 or so for those of you that are buying the West Texas flavored crude oil and the gasoline and those products, et cetera, et cetera. 888-8255, 888-TALK, and see if I can get some businessy stuff for us to yak about here in just a second. Yeah, we'll look at the numbers here on the charts. Do I have numbers? Hold on a second. I gotta click where it says markets. Yeah, markets in general. Hold on. I had not looked at that. I want to say that there were some decent news on their Friday hour Saturday, but I frankly was too busy doing other things to see whether the Dow Jones Industrial Average broke another record, because they did. I'm all smiley here. Dow Jones Industrial Average, 27,332. Who's got any funds that are indexed to that market? You've got to be smiling these days. 27K and a lot of room to spare. They were up 243 points on our Saturday, their Friday. That's a nice way to close the markets. NASDAQ also in the green, 82.44. They picked up 48 points. S&P 500, the last of the American markets to just be banging out of the week, 3,013. They're up by 13.86 points. That makes a difference when we're talking about a fund that is that small. So you got those three big markets, and they're all just cranking. FTSE down, but only by a little bit, 7,505. The Nikkei closed up and will open in the green today at 21,685. Hang Seng at 28,471, and the Shanghai Index also banging green at 2,930. The only market that looks like it's down again at FTSE and the DAX. On the commodities, as we said, they got oil at $60.21. Don't have any Bitcoin numbers. We should probably, with as crazy as it is every day, we should probably see if we can keep a daily tab on where Bitcoin is with the people that are interested in it, because they own it, or people that are interested just to see if today's going to be a dumpster fire. 10,600 wait, hold on. What is that? $10,652. No, is that right? Is that the right number of digits there? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, down a little bit from where it was before in the last week. It's trading as high as what, 12.13 last week? So, like I said, some days are just absolutely wonderful, and then some days it just feels like it's some kind of a dumpster fire. For those of you that are in the business of doing some training and aren't getting enough with Jerry Roberts and Guam training, it doesn't happen very often, but the Guam Chamber of Commerce has got an opportunity to help you coach and maximize average employees' performance. Now, I'm curious about this. Maybe we'll find Toshi and see what she's got to say about this. Does this mean that we're trying to train train them up to average, or we're trying to take average employees and try to make them better. I'm a little bit confused. Maybe I ought to attend. It's going to be taking place next month, almost exactly on the 16th, from 8:30 to 11 at the Sumnack Ballroom at the West. And $20 if you're a member of the chamber, $40 if you were a non-member of the chamber. We do our own little employee and employer training here on the program. It's called The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, who is in the studio today. How you doing?
I'm well today, sir.
Did we get all of your CBD questions answered on the phone when we spoke on Friday? What did you were in the market for it, or wanted to know a little bit about how to transact with CBDs?
Looking at the potential for pain relief, and on that, not for me, but for somebody else. And there's two categories of products: those with THC and those without THC. The ones with THC are the ones that raise the eyebrows and the hackles of the law enforcement people. And without THC, it seems to be okay. And, of course, in the news, we saw that the governor had asked the Attorney General to release all those products that had been confiscated.
Well, government of Guam is going to get out of the way of the CBD, which is good.
And I think that's with and without THC. I don't know. But that was part of it, yeah. And this is like an emerging field. There's just an enormous amount of information out there, and there's a lot of products, and no one knows really at this point what works and what doesn't in many cases. But
well, because it's different for different people. I think that the CBD experience is, if I try CBD, I'll get one experience out of it. Kevin might get something different. You might get something different. And Michael was talking about the various forms of it being able to treat him, and I don't know, different things that he has going on in his head. So everybody has a different outcome, and I think that for some people might be the frustrating part of it. Kev?
Just a point of reference, the Drug Enforcement Agency doesn't care about enforcement on CBD
Right.
products, and that's what they told Guam Customs. The issue for Guam Customs is the FDA.
The Food and Drug Administration?
Yeah.
Well, do they have a police department? Are they worried that the FDA was going to crack down and send a nastygram?
No, that's been the whole issue all along. That labeling issues and health claims that were invalid. So that's the reason why Pareto started. That's what he told me, that's why they started seizing the products.
Right.
He contacted DEA, and DEA said, we don't care about that.
Right.
And Pareto said that's a moot issue. So THC content in CBD products is not an issue. It's the FDA.
Based on that, I mean, how many other cases does Customs go out of their way on to enforce different things that the FDA might?
Pareto said he was enforcing the seizures. They started seizing the CBD products because of concerns over FDA
labeling
regulations.
Yeah. Because they do that all the time, right? I'm being facetious.
I don't know.
Just seems to me that, okay, well, we're not stretching in that direction, so let me see if I can stretch out in the other direction. Anyway, 7:24 in the morning. Glad we got all that worked out. It's time for Jerry Roberts to bring us today's the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes, except for the Timoning branch, because they're shut down for maintenance. Go to Mighty and Dededo instead. Jerry?
This coming Sunday, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of Guam's liberation. Some thoughts today on looking back and thinking of those who came before. That's up next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Timoning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Liberation Day, number 75. To most, it means the biggest single event of the year. Thousands of people will crowd Marine Corps Drive to watch the parade from Antelope to the Paseo. Several tons of food and drink will be enjoyed, and spirits will be high. Then for most workers, Monday is a paid day off. This is how we take in most holidays. Heavy on the partying, but light on the reason for the observance. I don't blame those who focus more on the recreational aspects of the day rather than the significance it represents. With the passage of time, each succeeding generation feels less of a connection to the events we celebrate. That's just how it goes. When I was a kid, I knew people who felt strongly about World War I and those who were lost in that horrible time. Well, I didn't feel the same at all. Every year, fewer people remain from those who lived through Guam's occupation in World War II. Anyone who was 13 on July 21st, 1944 is 88 now. It won't be much longer until all the voices of that era will be silent. This includes the Chamorro people set free and those who freed them. If you have Netflix, I encourage you to spend time this week watching the World War II series by Ken Burns entitled The War. It was released in 2007, and I just viewed it the past few days. It is a stunning creation and almost impossible to look away from. I'll tell you up front, it doesn't have a lot to say about Guam. While our island's liberation and the suffering of our people is obviously of supreme importance to us, we realize that the scale of the fighting here didn't compare to what happened in places like Guadalcanal, Bougainville, Peleliu, the Philippines, Saipan, or Okinawa. That said, about 1,800 U.S. servicemen died in the Battle of Free Guam. Almost 1,200 Chamorros died during the occupation, with the remainder forced to endure the struggle to just survive and atrocities inflicted by the occupying forces. The Ken Burns series gave me a jaw-dropping appreciation for what happened in this part of the world, and it reminded me of the incredible sacrifices made by so many average people who had just wanted to live their lives, maybe go to school, make something of themselves, get married, have kids, grow old. Almost 300,000 Americans never got that chance. When you add up the global death count from the war, it was in the millions for our allies, the Russians, as well as those on the other side, the Japanese and Germans. War is hell for everybody, and I'm sure those people, they just wanted the same things we all want. Watch the program before this Sunday. Think of those who fought from island to island so that a liberation of Guam was even possible. Think of those who were lost and those who made it through. This includes the Americans who fought to free Guam and the Chamorro people who cheered their arrival. We enjoy our lifestyle today only because of the grit and determination of all of them. They don't call it the greatest generation for nothing. We owe them more than we can ever repay. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
7:28, and as usual, that's a home run, and only an idiot would try to talk after that, but it's too early to go to headlines. So we might have to fill for about another minute between here and Kevin. Outstanding piece. Find it at GuamTraining.com.
Yeah, it's already up there. Have you ever watched that series?
The War?
The War.
I don't know that I've seen that one in particular.
Unbelievable.
There's a Band of Brothers, which is about the European-based European theater, and then there's the Pacific that they put together with liberators and heroes that fought in island-hopping campaigns, young Marines that went through most of the Pacific and their adventures and their tragedies and their loss as a result of the war. And I'm with you. I think about the generations that have come since then, and maybe a little bit of the generation that we've got in front of us, and wonder if they would be equal to the task if they were called to serve in the same way. I mean, you get people freak out when they're down to one bar on their phones, or at their 5% of their battery on their phone, and they lose their minds. Imagine having to live off of coconuts and wondering whether tonight's the night that the mortar shells are going to land in your hooch.
Yeah. I mean, my generation went to Vietnam, and I don't know that. I mean, they got up and they served, and they did what they were asked to do. I think every generation. I mean, this generation, we have kids growing up and they're going to the Middle East. I mean, every generation,
and have been for the longest
for a long time,
period of war.
But the way Burns does it is, I mean, I remember he did the Civil War. That was the first one he did.
Excellent storyteller.
It was baseball. He's an incredible storyteller. And he follows four towns in the United States that they sent people, and the impact on those towns, and from the war and the war effort, and how those towns grew, and how people dealt with the war from small towns. The biggest one, I think, was Sacramento, and but the whole thing is just so compelling. And you think about these people who were called from school and from farms and And they went in with the best of intentions, and they thought it was going to happen quickly, and they'd win the war, and it dragged on and on and on. And the mistakes of the people in power to send people into areas that weren't necessary, and they got slaughtered as a result of it. I mean, you look at it, it's an incredible story. I highly recommend, if you want to get the complete feeling of what that era was like, and in connection to Guam's liberation, by all means, the war. Ken Burns, Netflix. Do it.
It's 7:31. That's Jerry Roberts. Today's Extra Point. Now headlines from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. The island community is invited to the Chamorro Village this Wednesday to do the electric slide with Department of Chamorro Affairs President Anne Marie Arceo. Arceo said there's been a misconception about her recent remarks to promote indigenous culture at the Chamorro Village, saying, "I apologize for the misunderstanding." She said people were asking her why they couldn't play the electric slide or why lumpia couldn't be sold at the Chamorro Village. She said, "I want to clarify, we're not excluding anything or anybody." Arceo on Friday said her intentions were pure. She wanted to celebrate Chamorro culture and maximize the opportunity for visitors to experience the local culture, but not to the exclusion of all other cultures, she said. A 90-year-old former Guam resident and retired Guam DOE teacher died from injuries sustained when 3 men broke into her Maui condominium last month. It happened June 20th, according to a report by Hawaii News Now. Jacqueline Oberheim was in her condo when the trio broke into her home and physically assaulted and robbed her. She later died from her injuries. 3 suspects have been arrested, and they are now facing murder charges, according to the Hawaii News Now report. Darlene Moore, a friend of Oberheim's who lives in Manila, sent an email to the Guam Daily Post noting that Oberheim was a longtime resident of Guam and her children were all raised here. 34-year-old Henry Manglonia Cruz Jr. has been arrested on allegations that he sexually assaulted a teenage girl known to him. According to the magistrate report, police responded to a complaint in Talifofo on Friday where they interviewed the 15-year-old girl who said she had been sexually assaulted the day before. Cruz has been charged with third-degree criminal sexual conduct as a second-degree felony. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 7:33. That's iConnect time. I highly recommend you call iConnect at 888-8888 and ask them about ways they're going to save you money on mobile and internet plans.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office, and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Introducing IHOP's new pancakes, all natural 100% USDA Black Angus beef. And you're going, wait a second, well, you don't put beef in pancakes. Well, actually, they're burgers. And for a limited time, get the classic burger with unlimited fries for only $6.99. Available at IHOP in Tamuning.
Get a Coke 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a dozen extra-large eggs for only 49 cents when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a case of Circle K water for only $2.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Traffic gizmo time. I was looking at the weather radar just a second ago, and it looks like, I don't know, maybe a mile away from the northern and central parts of the island, just offshore. It's going to start raining before too much longer, and it looks like it might be raining for a little bit on the other side of that. So be very, very wary of what's happening on the roads. Probably overcast where you are right now, and if it's not, it's gonna be. Looking at the traffic gizmo to see if there's any major problems working. Only thing I see is a little bit of traffic at the intersection up on Route 16, Ocean Vista side, in that area. As people are trying to go across the street to get into the Macheche area, or to make that turn onto Route 16 so you can get closer to the Department of Revenue and Taxation. Looks like there's a little bit of traffic over by the post office and the entrance to the guard shop there. Not sure what's going on because it's got traffic tied up in two directions, which sometimes indicates that there might be an accident working over by that end of Teedson, over by the football fields. All right, looking at some slower traffic moving into 8, 10, and 16. A little bit busy once you get past there, though. You should be all right and got clear running virtually all the way into the downtown Agutnia area. You might see a couple of spots over by intersections, but that's what they're for. Into and out of the downtown Agutnia area, maybe a little bit over by the Agutnia Shopping Center, and that light and traffic that is trying to get across the Kipuha Loop southbound is moving a little bit slower than normal today. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the rain. 7:36 in the morning, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
888-8255-888-TALK if you want to reach out and touch me and tell me what your thoughts are. Do you have a good weekend? 7:40, and everybody just kind of get into the issues and rock 'em, sock 'em around here. But every once in a while, I think maybe I ought to just slow down and say, well, I hope you had as good a weekend as I did. Got all kinds of stuff. You know what I finally was able to do? I can bring my buddy in. Marquez, you know what I was finally able to do over the weekend?
What?
I got my chainsaw. I got my chain. And got to work on some of those tree trunks that needed to get brought down a little bit closer to ground level.
Did you hug them first?
Did I hug the trees first? Are you kidding? I had Admiral Chatfield and all 15 members of the 34th Guam Legislature at my house to make sure that I was dispatching these trees with the appropriate cultural reverence.
Good. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out. I've read the articles, and so it looks like this whole thing with the tree and the firing range. It's much ado about nothing. Number one, they've already decided that they're not going to do the machine gun range there. Kevin, am I getting this right? So what's the big deal? We're not going to put the range there.
They adjusted the range. There's 5 firing ranges. Yeah. One of them, the tree was within the boundaries. They moved it.
Okay,
so it's not in the boundary anymore.
All right.
And no construction has begun in that area.
And there's no construction in that area anyway.
Contract won't be awarded until next March.
So actually, she could have actually said, "Yeah, okay, we'll go ahead and pause it for 6 months."
Don't have to because
it wasn't going to get started until spring of next year anyway.
Yeah.
So you just got to wonder if you get these guys over at the legislature and no, we want to pause. On what? Nothing is happening there right now, and we've moved it. So the bullets won't be endangering that tree. I think they've got it now, so it'll be firing. The bullets will be firing right at Kaiser, right? At Kaiser Dededo? That's how we'll solve that problem.
Well, according to them, one bullet is too much, except if it's a poacher's bullet.
I'm still in my head. As we think about those poachers, you gotta because it's not the first time they busted poachers on the wrong side of the fence. And there's a couple of guys. I mean, they were strung up on federal charges and actually put in prison.
They shot at a B-52.
Yeah, I remember the guy. He shot at a B-52, and they found him. That's how good they are at this. Did you see the picture? And I played the video a while ago. This guy, a Coast Guard guy, and I know there's some people always look at the Coast Guard as going, well, yeah, okay, it's like civil service in uniform, right? But not in this case. They got this guy, Coast Guard, in the BDUs, jumping from one boat onto a moving submarine. Did you catch that?
Right. Yeah, I saw that. That was cool. The cartel people.
That's a movie. That's special effects that you only see in movies, like with movie star Tom Cruise doing that. But you don't see like regular guys. But apparently you do. I didn't know that it's like the Coast Guard's got like their own SEALs branch or something, right?
Yeah, I hope they're in the Liberation Parade, too.
Oh, well, I actually know a couple of Coasties that might be showing up for the parade as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So now, do you have plans, Marquez? Do you have plans for the parade?
Not yet. Taking one day at a time. I live yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That's about as far as I go.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that, but you got to kind of make some long range plans. Now, is your family? Does your family have access to someplace where there's going to be the big pala big tent?
Yeah. Marine Drive.
Okay.
Half the island's going to be there. So.
Well, happy hour. I think happy hour is going to start. Can you imagine the crazy that is going to be downtown Agutya on Saturday night?
Yeah.
I'm looking for. And I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to be one of those guys. I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like super critical about it. I mean, that's an island-wide party, and if we got an excuse to start day drinking on Saturday and just keep going and slobber right into Monday, what's so bad about that?
As long as you start out at like 9:01, because they don't start selling alcohol till 9.
Yeah, well, but you can steal it before that if you want to.
Okay.
Go in there. You have somebody you have somebody distract the cashier while your homeboys steal the and it's you can steal beer, you can steal some DAC and some corned beef. You'd be good to go.
Yep.
Anyway, 7:40 was that?
Get the rolls.
Yeah.
Get some munchies.
So you got anything else going on?
Yeah, just two positive things before you get into the six, because bad news is on every day. And that is CBD. I had my CBD with coffee this morning. CBD vape. I've got some neuropathy issues a little bit, but it's helping, and a few other, the doctors too. I'm working with my doctors. And I thank God for CBD Plus above Faith Bookstore. They had a good selection. And the other person I wanted to commend is Jerry Roberts. I thought he was a liberal, but he sounds like a real conservative. And I like his website. He's a real business professional.
Yes.
And, you've got some really solid listeners and contributors and radio show hosts. And, I just want to say, man, Viva Guahan, Viva 93.3 The Point. And man, let's take over the island again and take control and be a civilian population run by smart people that we are.
I want to make Guam again.
Yes, that's what MAGA means. Make America Guam again.
Buddy, I got to run. Thanks for the kind words. It really means a lot. It never gets old.
Okay.
All right, man. 888-825-5888 TALK. I'm sorry. Sometimes I look at the camera when I look at the video monitor. There's a couple of things I'm looking for. Number one is there any errant and wild stray hairs in my head that are looking kind of odd? I got to get a haircut. I don't know that I'm going to have the time to do it this week. Also, checking on my beard to make sure it looks at least as good as Clint Rigel's beard. Good morning, Clint.
Morning,
Senator. How you doing?
Good.
So first thing is you went on tour on Friday. You were among the lucky privileged few to get in front some time with the actual admiral to ask about the tree and some of the other activities that were taking place. Tell me about your tour and tell me about your hike into the boondocks.
Right, yeah. Well, Friday they took us to the site of the tree, the Hudson Lago or Cereanthes nelsonii, up on the Northwest Field area. So, they gave us a lot of information. It was very good. It was very good in terms of the information that they were able to provide us with, and they were very open about sort of talking about some of the work they've been doing. They had some biologists talk with us and some other people along those lines. So we got to actually see the tree itself.
Was it inspirational? Did you get that kind of angels, coming down on you from upon heaven as you saw the tree of life?
Well,
did you get goosebumps?
Actually, I did in some parts of the area, not where the tree's at, but I think we passed by some sites where there was archaeological sites.
Yes. Well, you know what? The same thing. I was up
deep in there. There's a lot of undisturbed forest in there.
Sure. Well, I was up in Agate, and as I said, there's a down zero up there, and when I got to where it was, there's a couple of things that were in my head. What a treat it was to be around something that's been up here as long as it had and survived as in its condition as much as it did. But it got me thinking about the young Japanese pilot that was in that plane. I mean, did he make it out? Did he survive? Did he perish in the crash? And all of those things, and just the recognition that it represented at least one human life. That gave me a little bit of a goosebump surge there as well. So I know what you mean.
Right. So yeah.
But nothing from you didn't get the goosebumps from the tree. I mean, did their explanation of what was going on with the tree, and certainly what wasn't going to happen for months and months, did that give you and the rest of the body, your colleagues, the level of satisfaction?
I'm not sure about the rest of my colleagues. I can't speak for them. I don't know what their thoughts are on it. I think Senator Sabina still has some concerns because she was asking quite a few questions, and she seems to be concerned still about the distance between the tree and where the fifth firing range is going to be placed. So it's what I did find out is which range it is in particular that's going to be closest to the tree, which I wasn't aware of before. I knew that there was going to be a range that was going to be close to the tree, but I wasn't sure which one. So they clarified that it's actually going to be the machine gun range, and that's the one that's going to have the 50 cal and everything else. It's actually the range with the largest surface danger zone because of the 50 cal.
Sure.
50 cal shoot the farthest. So it's actually the range that takes up the most space.
Is it the one that, now my understanding is they're not all going to be used at the same time. It's not like there's going to be 24/7 use, and especially on that one there'll be very specific times where they will be using that firing range.
That's correct, and I don't know what those times are. We did get to meet the guy who's going to be I believe they call range master, I think is what they call, and he was explaining that it's going to be 200 some days out of the year. I forgot what the exact figure. I forgot it was 270 or something along those lines. Closer to 300 days out of the year. So that the range that he has to be able to use the range. Now, how many of those days will the range actually be hot during that time? I'm not sure. But yeah, overall, they did show that they are doing as much as they can to preserve the tree. They had a gentleman up there, I forget his name. He's the professor from UOG who's been doing work on it. Forgive me, I forgot his name. He's a horticulturalist, right? So he spoke to us about the efforts that they've been doing. So they have been doing a lot to try to save as many of the seedlings as possible. There were some seedlings there on the ground. They're not actually saplings. They're tiny. They're little seedlings that are on the ground around the tree. The tree is not in good shape. It is sick, they believe, from some type of fungus. So they're not sure exactly what causes the fungus. So, yeah.
My understanding, there are concerns that if we got a decent blow around here, that the tree probably would not survive.
Yeah, it looks like there's a good chance it could be knocked down from another storm. So, it's not in good condition.
All right. Well, I wanted to get your sense of it because as I've known you and in your time as a journalist, you've always been pretty good about asking questions and holding people, certainly in the military, accountable for the activities that they're doing here. So I mean, it sounds like you got the information that you need and have determined, based on some of that information, that these guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing, being decent stewards of the environment that they are responsible for up where there's going to be a firing range.
Well, it seems like at least with respects to the tree. So that part, they seem to be doing as much as they can to preserve the seedlings, and they're trying to figure out how to better preserve the seedlings. And they do have the tree sort of cordoned off in an area. It's fenced off. So with respect to the tree, I think they are. But, I did want to see the archaeological sites there, but unfortunately we weren't able to do that at that time. I believe Senator Therese Terlahi and some other senators put in a request to ask if we could see the archaeological sites, the cultural sites there, but they weren't able to accommodate that request that time. They did mention that they could schedule another tour for us where we could see these sites that they've been coming across.
Okay. Well, and at some point, we'll have that conversation. You are going to have a conversation tomorrow with, and I looked at the agenda that you've got folks from the Attorney General's Office, Customs and Quarantine, Public Health and Social Services, the Department of Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture, U.S. Postal Services, et cetera, to hammer the details out about the CBD. Is that going to be postponed as a result of the governor's order to return the CBD products and what sounds like cease and desist on the confiscations?
No, I'm still going to hold the hearing. I think we can still, more information is good. We can bring everyone to the table and then get more details so that everyone can know for sure exactly what's required of them. And I think the governor, I think that was a good idea to release the CBD products. So now I just want to sit down with all the agencies and sort of figure out, okay, what does this mean? Does this mean they can continue to ship in CBD products? What do they need to bring CBD products in? Do they need to have, it lab tested? What are the requirements to bring in CBD products?
Oh, Lord.
And where are we at as far as those regulations are concerned? Just to be sure so that the people who are bringing them in have that assurance that they can continue to bring them in and what's required of them should they bring them in. And then I think it would just be good to get that on the public record as well. So, people at home can watch. If anyone's interested in bringing in CBD products, if other businesses are interested in bringing CBD products or hemp products, they can see it, watch it on the legislative channel or pull it up on YouTube when they're ready and see exactly what's required to be able to bring those types of things in.
Nothing
also,
like.
I wanted to asking them about what we can do to start growing hemp here on Guam. So, because there's been some businesses that have reached out to me and asked me, hey, can we grow hemp yet? And I'm not sure what the answer is to that, to be honest, because it is a federal law, and I don't know exactly where we're at with regards to how we would implement that.
Well, I mean, in terms of enforcement, the DEA apparently has already told Ike Pareto they don't care about CBDs and the importation of all of that stuff. It's a FDA issue. What's that, Kev?
They don't care about THC.
They don't care about the THC
in the CBD.
With the CBD stuff. So I just think that the wheels of the federal government are turning very, very slowly on this. But I think the last thing that we have to worry about from the Fed is an investigation on just how in the heck all of that the CBD with THC and maybe hemp is getting to Guam. I really don't think they're going to spend any of the time, trouble, and resources to conduct any kind of enforcement on that. In fact, I think it's been barred in the federal budgets to enforce any of the marijuana laws. But what will be interesting is when Public Health and Social Services gets up there to talk about the, as you write, procedure and process for enforcement of FDA rules and regulations. How often is that being done around here? And was it kind of a stretch for them to say, well, we better start looking at this CBD because we're not sure about its labeling requirements and how well it meets up with the federal guidelines on that. Really? When have they been doing that for a while? And we just are there other products that Public Health, working with Customs and Quarantine, have taken steps to embargo into the island? I mean, I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, I don't know. My sense is that, and I've read articles, there's similar problems that are happening in the U.S. mainland and the States. Because states are unsure of how to regulate CBDs. And I think it just really goes back to the old sort of negative connotation attached to CBDs because they come from cannabis plants. Hemp is a type of cannabis plant. It's just one of the strains of cannabis. So, it just goes back to that old fear about anything dealing with the cannabis plant. What is it? Is it a drug? Is it, what do we do about this thing? It's illegal, even though. And there's still people that don't, they're still learning that CBDs or cannabidiols are not psychoactive components of the hemp plant or the cannabis plant. So there's just a lot of misunderstanding, I think. It's a new product. People don't know what it is. They just hear CBD, hemp, marijuana. They just think it's some kind of drug.
Yep.
And it's really not. It's just it's found in a plant, and it's a supplement. I mean, I always point to there's all types of supplements that are sold in the GNCs and the vitamin worlds of the world. These different supplements that have all kinds of things from creatine to taurine to ephedra to guarana extract. There's tons of stuff that are extracted from other sort of herbal plants and herbal remedies that are put into that are stimulants and that actually that probably have far, far more dangerous effects than CBDs, but it's just that negative idea that's been attached to the plant.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's carried over to CBDs.
Yeah, keep an eye out. I don't want anybody seizing my extra Joss. There's only a couple of places on Guam that you can buy that stuff. Otherwise, you got to pick it up when you're in the Philippines. But it has all of those things that you were just talking about. It has them in there, and that's what I use. So if I got to wake up early and go running, and I really got to charge up fast. One of these couple of sachets of extra Joss do it to me, and as far as I know,
Yeah.
I don't know how it is labeled. I know that there's some people that have got issues with it. Obviously, I'm not one of them, but I don't know whether it's one of those things that if they were enforcing at all, would they enforce on that? So, like I said, it's the procedure and process for enforcement based on FDA labeling requirements. How often does that happen, and to what degree does it happen? Do things get confiscated in the process? Because up until this CBD, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, same here. I haven't heard of other supplements sort of being stopped, so I'm not aware if they've been doing that. I haven't heard of it either.
I got you.
So yeah, of course, that definitely seems like they're being a bit strict on CBDs, but again, I think that just goes back to the sort of a lot of the confusion and misunderstanding surrounding hemp and cannabis.
Because it was only stuff that hippies were using, so nobody is allowed to be happy and unhung up. It's 7:56. Are you going to be at the legislature all day today? You got, as I understand it, there's going to be a confirmation hearing. In one case, it's going to be for somebody to go to the useless Guam Regional Transit Authority, and in another case, it's going to be somebody to go sit on the contractor's license board. That needs to get done pretty quick so that we can start churning out business licenses for these contractors.
Yeah, I won't be at those hearings. I'm down at I'm in Malesa right now. I'm about to hike into the Tinta massacre site. The memorial is being held today for Tinta and Faja massacre sites in Malesa. So I'm down here right now. We're about to start hiking in soon.
All right, well, watch out. It's going to be slippery and rainy.
Oh, yeah, it's muddy down here. Yeah.
Already. All right, well, have a good drive back up to the Central. I'll see you when I see you.
Thank you, Ray.
Senator Clint Rigel here in the morning show. It's 7:57, and a couple of the issues that he's been working on over there. Obviously, he's the guy that brought us the recreational marijuana. God bless him. And then there's the rest of it, the conversation about CBDs, and it's not the drug enforcement agencies that are cracking down and saying, well, you can't have CBD because it might actually have what is it called? An atom of THC in there. There might be a couple of THC compounds, and then you're going to get high because you're rubbing it on your swollen ankles. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But as I said, for me, it's just how come awful a sudden? Or it just feels like awful a sudden. I don't know. I don't hear very often of things that of any nature that are getting confiscated. Now, there is one other note for you legislative watchers. For those of you that are wondering about what's going to happen with Bill number 95, there was supposed to be a public hearing on the measure today, but I don't know whether they don't have all of the information that they need. More research is required, or maybe they're thinking, yeah, nobody cares about this. We don't need to have a public hearing. Bill 95, an act to add a new chapter to the GCA, creating the Criminal Justice Automation Commission. Now, it's one of those measures that I suppose I'm glad it's not going to have a public hearing, because I'd like to read up on it a little bit to find out whether this is a solution out looking for a problem, maybe some more legislative make work for somebody, another commission to stand up and worry about a quorum for, and what eventually will it do? What of substance is this new Criminal Justice Automation Commission going to do that we can't already do? Thoughts in my head. What are your thoughts? 888-8255, 888-TALK. Quick look at the weather radar right now, and indicating that there might be a little bit of water on the roadways. If it's not there now, it will be there in just a little bit, as the rain is starting to wash in on the northern and central parts of the island. Be very, very careful on the way into the office this morning. As Mike says, drive to the conditions. We're KUSG. You got you. This is The Point.
ICE raids on as rhetoric heats up. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Federal immigration agents rounding up people in this country illegally. The raid scheduled weeks ago, postponed by the president when word leaked out. but he made no secret of what would be taking place today.
ICE officials say the nationwide immigration roundup targets people with final deportation orders. On ABC's This Week, Acting Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Ken Cuccinelli says he has respect for ICE officers.
They have a job to do, and it's a tough one, and made a lot tougher when a lot of people in Congress throw the vitriol at them that they are just for doing their job.
Also on This Week, Senator Amy Klobuchar, a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, said the raids are about, quote, scaring people.
And it is also about changing the news from things like pharmaceutical prices that are going up in record levels, and this president has made endless promises that he's going to do something about it.
The crackdown is said to be focusing on 10 major cities.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Tornado watches and warnings in effect until 7 p.m. local time from Slidell, Louisiana into southwest Mississippi. Barry downgraded to a tropical depression now, crossing the Arkansas state line. Remnants of the storm, which made landfall in Louisiana as a Category 1 hurricane yesterday, still dumping heavy rains. Flash flood watches and warnings also in effect. One refinery shut down because of Barry, but unless there's widespread flooding, the storm should not have much of an impact on prices at the pump. Those prices are up.
Gasoline prices changed direction and rose about a dime over the past 3 weeks. The new average is $2.83 for regular grade.
That's industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. She blames increases in the gasoline tax for that. In Illinois, that tax went up 19 cents a gallon. This is Fox News.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
A presidential tweet attracting widespread criticism this Sunday. President Trump calling out progressive congresswomen who, in his words, originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, suggesting they go back and help fix the crime-infested places from which they came. Assistant House Speaker Ben Ray Lujan calling the president racist.
These are American citizens elected by voters in the United States of America to serve in one of the most distinguished bodies in the U.S. House of Representatives. I think that's wrong, and especially with all that's going on across America.
The New Mexico congressman on Fox News Sunday. Others pointing out the congresswomen are all women of color. One of them, Ilhan Omar, a Somali refugee and practicing Muslim, moved here with her family as a teenager. One of her Michigan colleagues, Justin Amash, a former Republican who may run for president as an independent, called the tweet racist and disgusting. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer calling for a federal investigation into what caused a blackout in much of Manhattan last night. Mayor Bill de Blasio says he is certain
this was not a cyber attack, and this was not an act of physical terrorism.
De Blasio, who is running for president, was in Iowa campaigning at the time. That didn't go over well. Subway trains stopped in their tracks. People got stuck in elevators. Broadway performers brought their shows out to the sidewalk. At Madison Square Garden, J-Lo had to cut her concert short.
I'm so sorry that this happened. Obviously, it was beyond all of our control.
Her show rescheduled for tomorrow night. The box office winner a second straight weekend, Spider-Man Far From Home. It hauled in another $45.3 million. Toy Story 4 finishing second. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data to go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Get a free Polar Pop any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a free coffee any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get $5 off any Circle K car wash package when you purchase $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Leon Guerrero has instructed the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency to release the CBD products the agency has been seizing since late February. The governor telling reporters Friday morning that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has expressed concern about the health effects of various consumer products that have been laced with CBD, which is a derivative of the hemp plant. The cultivation and sale of hemp became legal when the 2018 Farm Act became law at the start of this year. However, the health effects of hemp-derived CBD products and the validity of the labeling claims made on those products are in question and subject to FDA regulation. The governor said the FDA's guidance has been that not enough science has been done to understand the health impact of CBDs yet. I'm concerned about the public health, said the governor. Nevertheless, in the wake of heavy pressure from business interests whose products have been seized, the governor said they will now be released. The governor said the Public Health Department, however, will continue to ensure that CBD products are not marketed for use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. Guam DOE officials are working to fill 359 certified public school teacher positions for the upcoming school year. 121 elementary school teacher positions are vacant, along with 194 middle and high school teacher positions, and 44 special education teachers are needed. Guam Federation of Teachers President Sanjay Sharma told the Guam Daily Post that more competitive salaries are needed to help attract and retain teachers on Guam. The starting salary on Guam for a fully certified public school teacher with a bachelor's degree is just $34,383. By comparison, a teacher at one of the Department of Defense DOE schools, he said, starts at $49,842. Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez agrees that teacher salaries on Guam are not competitive. In the early 1990s, he said, Guam DOE was able to recruit stateside teachers because back then, Guam teachers' salaries were competitive. Salary levels have since stagnated, however, making it difficult for Guam DOE to recruit and retain teachers. The teacher shortage has become a perennial problem for Guam DOE. Officials held a job fair in June, and some, but not all, of the open teacher positions were filled. We'll have more news after this.
Building a business is tough work. Big or small, Nanbo Insurance has your business covered. Nanbo takes the guesswork out of coverage to protect your investments. Over the years, Nanbo has worked with businesses of all sizes, from large hotels to small businesses. Nanbo Insurance will be your best asset. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings, up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The location of one of the 5 firing ranges to be built on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base has been moved to protect the endangered Cereanthus nelsoni tree. Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield telling a group of Guam lawmakers Friday who visited the location of the tree that the multi-purpose machine gun range has been permanently relocated sufficiently far away enough from the tree and its saplings in compliance with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife's forest buffer zone. According to a news release issued by Joint Region Marianas on Friday after the site visit, Chatfield also told the visiting senators that no construction has occurred in the area of the tree yet. Black Construction already started building parts of the live fire training range complex under a $78 million contract that it was awarded back in August 2017. Chatfield, however, said that the contract for construction of the multi-purpose machine gun range near the Cereanthus nelsoni will not be awarded until March of next year. Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes requested the site visit, which was led by Chatfield. The media was not allowed to go along. The governor and acting state preservation officer, Patrick Lujan, are expected to visit the site later this week. Citing the need for more personnel, the Mayor's Council of Guam has asked lawmakers for a $1.2 million increase in its fiscal 2020 budget, raising its proposed spending to $13.8 million annually. Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan made the request during the Mayor's Council budget hearing at the legislature last week. The council is requesting a $100,000 increase for the Street Maintenance and Beautification Program, which will now total $922,423 if the budget is approved. In addition, the mayors are seeking an appropriation of $240,000 to repair and renovate 12 senior citizen centers to fix roof leaks, plumbing issues, and air conditioning problems. The longer we do not attend to these matters, the more costly it will be to fix them, said Sablan. Sablan also said that salaries totaled $7.1 million plus $2.8 million in benefits for the 214 mayor's employees and the 19 village mayors plus the 7 vice mayors, as well as 10 classified central office staff employees. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
It's going to rain. Mostly cloudy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in today's forecast. I got south winds, about 10 miles an hour, becoming southwesterly this evening. Highs around 87 degrees, overnight lows should be about 79 degrees. Wet sunset, 6:52 tonight. We'll take a look at the weather radar right now and show the weather beginning to awash right over the island. What's going on with that? Let me just grab a handle here and make that big. Okay, so that's what the weather radar looks like. Michael Knight has actually gone to school to tell you what that means.
Yeah, well, I really don't have the time to explain exactly all that's going on in here, but let's just suffice it to say there is a big area of rainfall moving in from the northeast, but it is weakening as it does, and at the same time, this what turned out to be a small area of thunderstorms developing to the southwest has turned into a very big, ugly red, orange, and yellow mass of stuff.
But it's passed.
But it doesn't look like it started to look like it was going to come on in, but as you can see on the radar, the general flow is from the northeast, so I think those showers are going to hold on to their own and stay offshore there. Weather Service says there's a possibility some of the western and southern areas could see some heavy storms, but it's hard to say. Once this area of moisture that's moving over Guam hits those thunderstorms, it could give potential for larger development, and that may be what the National Weather Service is looking out for. For right now, just watch for this rain. It's moving over the island now through this hour of drive, and you will get wet, and we'll keep your ears to the radio, and if anything interesting happens between now and then, We'll let you know. Weak tropical depression very far to the west. That's part of what this circulation is all about. It's a very weak monsoon trough. It's moving on over. We'll do so today and tomorrow. Things should start to improve by Wednesday.
Gotcha. And hopefully they stay improved all the way through the Liberation Weekend, and Pia Mia doesn't get rained out, and we don't have to worry about umbrellas and wading boots at the actual parade. 8:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Quarter after 8 o'clock in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. And what do we got for you right now? Just the important things, like people that bring you the portions of the program that you enjoy the most, like the part where Blake and I pretend to talk about sports. That's coming up next. But Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 to 6, and all day on Tuesday, select draft beers, wines, and sangrias, an RT Tipsy Palmer or Ruby Relaxer, $5 or less, plus $5 appetizers, too. Your happy hour is going to be at Ruby Tuesdays. It's 8:15. Portions of the program also brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy Solar with battery storage now available for Guam homeowners. Give them a ring at 632-2613 for a free consultation on that and how all of that works. And American President Lines, global presence with a local home.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Thank you, Mr. San Nicolas. It's 8:16 in the morning, and it's the Summer of Jeep. Big sale ends at the end of the month. So you've got between now and the 31st to get the test drive on that Wrangler, the Compass, the Cherokee, or the Grand Cherokee waiting for you over in the parking lot at Cars Plus. Take it from their parking lot to your place. Security Title, big sponsors of the program, making sure you actually own the property that you think you just bought. Take Care Insurance, and I think that's all of them.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
In the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Big weekend for lots of people. Got the last of the grill marks in over the weekend while I was watching the Ultimate Frisbee over at Jimmy's place, and I think they're working on some new teams, new configurations of all of that kind of thing. I like. Somebody asked me, said, Ray, is there any chance that you might want to become a member and actually play Ultimate Frisbee? And the answer is no. I know nothing about that. I've been watching them do it about a year now. I've been going and watching the festivities, and friends have tried to explain to me exactly how it works. All of these times, the similarities between that and football and all the other stuff. It's just I don't get it.
That's basically what it is.
Frisbee
Frisbee football, and what you do, you throw the frisbee. The guy, when you catch it, you have to stand there. You can pivot much like you do in basketball, but you got to keep one foot on the ground. You got to find somebody else to throw it to, and just keep on getting to get to the end zone.
You actually may enjoy. We can't really do it here, but you would enjoy Frisbee golf more than Ultimate Frisbee, I think, because Frisbee golf is pretty leisurely. It's like playing golf, but it's even less work because you just kind of flick the Frisbee, and I think you can walk and drink.
Well, there you go.
Because you wouldn't want to, I mean, that's why I saved that. I'll kind of bury the lead there for you on that one, but yeah.
That's the way that works.
but you can walk and drink, unlike Ultimate Frisbee, where it's almost like you're running a lot. And, you can drink, I guess, but it's more strenuous than just kind of walking and throwing a golf disc.
Did Guam get any gold at the South Pacific Games? I thought I saw a more of a. It looks like New Caledonia's going to need their own airplane for all of the hardware that they're going to be bringing home. but I look at Guam. I think our medal count on the report that I saw was just 8, mostly silvers and bronzes.
Mostly that. Now, like I did say, I do predict a gold medal for the basketball team, and they are still playing. So we will probably end up getting one. They do have a target on their back, but they have been dominating in pool play. Let's see here. They dropped Pacific Rival. They dropped New Caledonia. They ain't getting no gold medal in basketball this year. 89-61. Ty Wesley led the team, 28 points. Darren Hachinova drops 14. And, yeah, so they win easily there. And then they finish pool play unbeaten. And now the gold medal defense begins as they take center stage in the semifinals tomorrow. So we'll see what they, what's going to happen. But either way, we are going to be playing for some gold here pretty soon as the guys will take to the court. They did their job. I think pool play domination means 3 in a row, unless there was one game I'm missing. But I'm pretty sure that they had 3 games in pool play. They're unbeaten, and really the other teams weren't even really in it. So we'll see. Kind of unbeaten and untested. But elsewhere, the women's team, let's see here. You know, we have a husband and wife on each. Like we have a husband and a wife. Willie Stinnett. Stinnett. He is married to Darren Stinnett, and she plays for the women's team. In the women's competition, they did their job over the weekend as well. They beat Tahiti 72-63. They jumped out to an 18-5 lead, playing like the Warriors usually do. And Destiny Castro, she scores 24 points. That leads the team as Mia San Nicolas, she had 6 rebounds, and they get their, I guess they do what they're supposed to do. So that's what we got going
Mia
on.
San Nicolas.
Mia San Nicolas, yeah. So there you go. I don't really have anything. I'm not seeing anything about when they're playing next, but as long as they keep winning, they will keep playing. Then, like I mentioned, just a reminder, the men will play in the semifinals. No word on who they're playing, but they will play Tuesday. So
Right.
Samoa2019.ws or check Pacific Games Samoa on Facebook. That's usually where the better updates have been coming in.
Not without its controversy. Laurel Hubbard won gold at the Pacific Games, and Laurel Hubbard, I don't know if you're familiar with this, New Zealander weightlifter, but a transgender weightlifter. And
she's there. She's at Pacific Games.
She's at the Pacific Games. The Kiwi weightlifter Laurel Hubbard has won gold at the Pacific Games in Samoa, and a transgender athlete who is trying to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics won gold medals at Apia's Feliata Sports Complex to become the Oceania Senior Champion, the Commonwealth Senior Champion, and the Pacific Games Senior Champion. But as I said, not without some degree of controversy, as a transgender, a male turned female, is competing in the female version.
And this is a question, and maybe, and this is more, okay. So let me ask you this about Pacific Games, and I'm sure you don't know. I don't know, but like,
anyway, right?
Is there not? Before we even get to the transgender aspect of this, is there not an age limit for the Pacific Games? Like, meaning, I guess, like, is that up to the each respective country? Like, oh, we don't care that you're I don't know, like a 35-year-old basketball player, you're still on the team and we're still going to send you. Like, I guess there's no age limit.
If you're the best person that can represent in that particular sport, I don't know that there should be an age limit for you. I don't know if it's like running for office or something. We're going to be, inside this window.
Okay, well, because physically, and in regards to the the transgender, the transformation and all that. I mean, I'm looking at Laurel Hubbard. She is of size. She looks very muscular. Yeah. And also, what I'm saying is that is it may be, I don't know, surgically or emotionally a woman, but I believe that
that's a dude.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is not only is it a dude, it's a 41-year-old dude. So it's a guy with age, which, to me, somebody who's been weightlifting and they're 41, you know what I mean?
Well,
like that's just.
I think the decisions have already been made in its final. I mean, in terms of, at least of the South Pacific Games,
right.
And now the idea that this individual is going to be playing in the 2020 Olympics. I think it's we've now gotten to a point here where it has become the reality in sport. If you are a natural-born woman,
right.
You need to be prepared to compete against somebody who was born a man and may still have some of the same physical qualities, i.e., size and strength. you're going to need to learn to compete against that because it doesn't look like there's anybody's going to reverse that trend.
Then there's no competition because no female, Olympian or not, is going to beat a 41-year-old man in weightlifting.
And
so that's the end of the story. Give her the gold. I mean, give her the gold. That's. I mean, like
you're going to have to lift.
That's what I'm saying. I understand. You know, allowing everybody to identify and be all that. But I'm just saying, I mean, regardless, you killed the competition. There is no competition. No woman on any level is going to beat a 41-year-old man at this level.
Yep.
You know, in this particular one. So. In this particular,
they'll have to create their own level of competition, and say, okay, this is only for people that were born with these genes, with this genetic makeup.
And unfortunately, it's not. I think it is very circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that about any woman, you know, but I would say that in this particular case, I don't think that there is a woman out there at Olympian level or anything that can beat this accomplished, you know, of a person at this age.
In my opinion, the only way to solve this problem is to create a transgender category within all of these games. That way you have the men against the men, the women against the women, and those that have made decisions to be other than what they were born against each other. And that's the only way really to make it fair.
Yeah, because this, and that's the thing, regardless of what you believe or not, to me this just isn't fair because I think this person is just going to dominate any competition that they're in, that she is in. Because she's leaps and bounds physically, age-wise, and size. Yeah. Regardless of whether it's a man or a woman.
All right, and I got this here. This is something I'm looking forward to doing, and we're doing it for charity. It's the Run With Me X by Resorts World Manila, August the 25th at the Mall of Asia Concert Grounds in the capital of the Philippines. Run With Me, an annual celebrity-led fun run for charity that's raised hundreds of thousands of bucks for charities since it was launched in 2016. This year, the run is set to be extra thrilling and extra fulfilling as Resorts World Manila celebrates their 10 years of thrilling the world with a Filipino touch. Biggest run with me yet. 10,000 runners expected to come together to run for love. I will be taking part in this race to represent the lovely island of Guam. Not because I'm the fastest guy around here or the prettiest or I've got the nicest beard or the shortest shorts. It's just that they want me to go out there and so I did. The idea is that you run with me. So they got all these celebrities together in the Philippines, and a lot of people get a chance to run with them. I don't know. They think I'm a celebrity, so they've asked me to participate as well. And people from Guam can come with me as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, you can run with me as well if you're going to be in Manila at the time, or make it a special run trip. Go to runwithme.ph. They've got a special website set up, runwithme.ph. They've got a special package at the Savoy Hotel, and we'll be able to put all that stuff together again. So runwithme.ph, and so let's go and we'll run together. You want to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 10 days after my birthday.
Is it? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
My birthday's a month from today. So...
any excuse to goof off in the Philippines.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and I can run. I can run.
And I know somebody. Yeah,
cool.
fun times. I got this one note. It was kind of cool over the weekend. Now it's baseball, so I don't know how quick your eyes are going to go to screensaver mode. But this is kind of heartwarming. So I don't know if we reported this. I don't think we did. The Angels, right before they played the Texas Rangers, there was a 27-year-old pitcher. He wasn't slated to pitch that day, but he did miss the team bus, and basically the housemaids found him dead in his hotel room. And it was no suicide and no foul play, so they really don't know what happened. He was a young 27-year-old guy. Well, I settled that to say
CBD overdose.
Maybe
it's a CBD overdose. The customs didn't get to him in time.
Yeah. So they canceled the game, and the Angels had their first home game since the passing, which happened over the weekend. They threw Ray. So they honored him, and then his mom threw out the first pitch, Debbie Hetman.
Which was a perfect strike, by the way.
Perfect strike.
Pretty clear where Tyler got his arm.
Yep. And they honored him improbably with a combined no-hitter delivered by pitcher Taylor Cole and Felix Pena in a 13-0 romp of the Seattle Mariners at Angels Stadium. And I know most people out there know, but Ray, for you, a no-hitter means nobody got a hit at all.
That's what that meant?
Yeah, and there were some other coincidental, interesting coincidences in this game that took place. Mike Trout hit a first pitch home run that went 454 feet rather. Now, keep in mind, Tyler Skaggs' number on his jersey was 45. All the players wore that number. If you look at the number 454, you see it's 45, both forwards and backwards. The combined no-hitter by the two pitchers at home, which, by the way, the last time that was done, the day Tyler Skaggs was born. There was some other really weird coincidences that took place in this game, but just it was something that it will probably make a movie. They will probably make a movie of it, and then when they do, no one will believe it happened. It was just that good.
8:29. A couple of other things. Apparently, the Wimbledon's over.
Oh yeah, Novak Djokovic.
That's close.
Is that how you say? Novak Djokovic beats Roger Federer. And I don't know if he's ever won. I don't have that in front of me, like how many times Novak has won Wimbledon, but I was pulling for the Federer and Nadal final, but they ended up playing each other like Friday.
Okay.
And Federer had to get to the championship. He had to beat Nadal, so they weren't ever going to play for the championship. But that to me was kind of my Wimbledon.
All right, which one of the girls lost?
Serena.
Yeah, but she lost against I'm told much smaller and I don't know springy.
There's an interesting fact about her. Serena. Let's see. What's her name? She's Colombian. Halep. Selma Halep. Right? Is it Selma Halep?
Simona
Halep. So Simona Halep is a Colombian tennis star. She was kind of ranked like in the top 50 for a long time, and this is all true. And she was actually thinking about giving up because she couldn't really break. She couldn't. To her, she was hindered, and it was because she was born very well endowed.
Okay.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
But it made it hard for her to play.
Sure.
So she ended up getting a reduction surgery, and now she's #1 in the world. And ever since she got the reduction surgery, she's been top 10, top 5. Worked her way up into #1. Yeah. And actually, she was kind of the big bad guy. It was a no-win situation, but she's the one who bounced Coco Gauff, the 14, 15-year-old phenomenon that we saw beat Venus Williams a couple weeks ago. And then she, of course, finished things out by beating Serena and taking Wimbledon.
Well, and another crazy upset. World Water Polo Championships taking place. Have you seen this?
No.
The Koreans, South Koreans went to go and play against Hungary. And this,
oh my gosh.
They were beat 64-0. 64-0 in water. Now, water polo in my mind is just like any other sport where you got a goal and you got to get something in there. It's like soccer, and it seems to have. I've watched it play many times, and in my mind, it doesn't happen fast enough because it's not easy to make a goal in water polo. I mean, with all of that treading and everything. Anyway, so it comes down to something like a goal every 30 seconds for Hungary in this game. They just score after score after score against the South Koreans. 64-0.
34 goals in the first half, followed by 30 goals in the second half. The hosts marked their World Championship debut with the worst record, I guess the worst loss.
And who won that game?
Hungary.
Which is a landlocked country, by the way,
Yeah.
against the South Koreans, which are like 3 points in the ocean. So.
It is the biggest lopsided, win. South Africa were beaten by the European champions 33-0.
I love the next one. New Zealand.
Yes.
Previously held the honor of being the biggest world championship losers. They were pulverized 38-1 by Croatia in 1994.
The South Korean team only got their team together a month before, and they called on former swimmers and their captain. And all but their captain were teenagers on this team. So it's just a young team. It seems like, oh yeah, we got to play. Oh, can you swim? Can you swim?
Yeah,
get in the pool. You can throw a ball, right? Get in the pool. You'll be fine.
Well, there we go. So Romanian, not Colombian. I'm sorry, she's pretty like a Colombian. So it's easy. We're talking about that.
Romanian. I'm sorry. I actually was going off my flag. It was I got the Romanian and the Colombian flag mixed up.
I think that's all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports for another day. Looks like we've got the Monday game in the bag, and we'll see if we can come up with some other interesting sort of sports stories when it gets to be tomorrow. In the meantime, it's 8:33 in the morning. Coming up, something else that is filthier than a toilet seat. That's all ahead on the Ray Gibson Show.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So,
Last week, we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Currently 8:34 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. And it is time now, we'll do this now, for Kevin Kerrigan's last look at headlines this morning from the Guam Daily Post. Kev?
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. The island community is invited to the Chamorro Village this Wednesday to do the electric slide with the Department of Chamorro Affairs President Anne Marie Arceo. Arceo said there's been a misconception about her recent remarks to promote indigenous culture at the Chamorro Village, saying, "I apologize for the misunderstanding." She said people were asking her why they couldn't play or dance the electric slide, or why lumpia couldn't be sold anymore at the Chamorro Village. "I want to clarify, we're not excluding anything or anybody," said Arceo on Friday. She said her intentions were pure when she made those remarks. She wanted to celebrate Chamorro culture and maximize the opportunities for visitors to experience the local culture, but not to the exclusion of all other cultures that make up Guam. A 90-year-old former Guam resident and retired Guam DOE teacher died from injuries sustained when 3 men broke into her Maui condominium last month. It happened June 20th, according to a report by Hawaii News Now. And Jacqueline Oberheim was in her condo when the trio broke into her home, physically assaulted, and then robbed her. She later died from her injuries. 3 suspects have been arrested. They are now facing murder charges, according to the Hawaii News Now report. Darlene Moore, a friend of Oberheim's who lives in Manilao, sent an email to the Guam Daily Post over the weekend noting that Oberheim was a longtime resident of Guam and her children were all raised here. 34-year-old Henry Manglonia Cruz Jr. has been arrested on allegations that he sexually assaulted a teenage girl known to him. According to the magistrate report, police responded to a complaint in Talafofo on Friday. They interviewed the 15-year-old girl who said that she had been sexually assaulted the day before. Cruz was arrested, charged with third-degree criminal sexual conduct as a second-degree felony. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, I will. It's 8:36 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. My number, 888888 is the number for... Now, I think I got them all in there, right? 888-8888. But just keep pressing the number 8 until somebody answers the phone at iConnect. And when they do, say Ray Gibson's trying to get you to tell me how I'm going to save some money on my mobile and internet plans.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Don't go Airport Road. Don't go. I'm looking at Airport Road right now, and it looks like it's stop and go all over the place between the 2 intersections that they've got over there. One side with the it's like that. Am I supposed to do this now? It's not traffic gizmo time yet, right? It's time for me to talk about Mezcla. I'm going to go eat lunch at Mezcla today, and I think I'm going to have the Kahlua pork and cabbage. They've got slow-roasted, smoke-laced pork. They shred it up, saute it with onions and cabbage, and then they serve that with steamed rice and lomi salmon. Try it today. Available in Agutya and Tumuling at the and Tumon at their Grand Plaza Hotel location. We suggest reservations to make sure that they save you some Kahlua pig. 969-2652.
Liberate your mind with laughter.
Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut. Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Tri-Vision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate Your Mind with Laughter is a GSPN production. Looking forward to talking with that guy before the week is all up, and also looking forward to giving away tickets to the show. I've got a pair that I might want to think about giving away at some point today. Anyway, 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, I'm looking at traffic generally everywhere between Route 10 by the airport where the rental car section is and Marine Corps Drive. So I would avoid that area if you possibly could. Southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive is working. You'll see some delays down in the Tumon area, mostly southbound. Intersection of 1 and 3 is moving slow this morning. Intersection over by the Fatima Mobile also moving slow. Looking at 8, 10, and 16 right now. A little bit slow going northbound on the road, but once you're southbound and past the Cars Plus area, should be fairly straight shot. Looks like a little bit of a slowdown on Roy T. Demion Street over by the Seguenza Place, so watch out for that. In and out of the downtown Agutnia area, watch those intersections. They're moving a lot slower than normal. It probably has a lot to do with the weather conditions. Things moving a little bit slow in front of Navy Hospital, and let's see just how bad it is over at the intersection at Big Navy. Yeah, it's ugly down there. So I would take some extra time, maybe grab yourself a cup of coffee and wait for traffic to die down. 20 away from 9. Right now, traffic here on The Point.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Where'd you go? You're not supposed to leave the chair. Normally I don't. Normally I'm in the studio for the entire 4 hours. That is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. But today felt a little compelled to go and stick my head out the front door and see if there's any weather out there to speak of. I've been looking at the weather radar all morning long. In fact, I wanted to forgot I was going to put the weather radar image up while the news was playing, while the traffic was going, while I was yakking about right now traffic, because I wanted to see what it was like outside. And the radar kind of makes it look ominous, where we've got these massive clouds that are coming in, but it looks like the rain that was associated with those clouds as they came over the island split.
Well, it's one of those.
happened?
Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's nature doing what nature does. What's happening is a line of showers formed overnight, and the conditions that were conducive for that line to form ended once the sun started coming up. So
Okay.
those showers started petering out, but they started firing up on another line of showers down to our southwest that quickly started building up. Now this moisture is moving into those showers, and you can actually see that area down to the southwest starting to grow in size and scope. And this is what the Weather Service was talking about. They sent out a little bulletin earlier talking about, watch out for these showers and thunderstorms to the southwest, because they may team up with this moisture, and especially on the southwestern parts of the island down around Naval Base and beyond that, Umanak and all that, could see some pretty heavy weather. Not sure if it'll get this far north, but everybody going to get a little rain this morning.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm looking at here that doesn't make sense to me is does it look like they're closing? Does it look like we got weather from the northeast, and it is meeting weather coming in from the southwest? How is that possible that we'd have the wind moving in two different directions? Or these bodies moving in different
that's
directions?
one of those weird things, because you have a deepening low pressure system out far to the west, which is going to has actually been called a tropical depression by JMA, and some of this energy is starting to pull away, but that's what was left here overnight, and so that was what was leading some of these showers to pull to the northeast. Now, if you look at the radar, you can actually see a bit of a circulation down to our southeast, and so this is starting to become the player now with with these particular rain showers. So there was a bit of transition. Those showers that were to the west of us were getting pulled into this system to the east, but now a new circulation forming to our southeast. And so now this is all starting to come together over the top of us, basically.
All right, so I was anticipating rain coming in from the northeast side and drenching us, up at Tamuning and Dededo and Jigo, but it looks like the rain coming in from the southwest is going to be doing that job and probably doing it a little bit more spectacularly than what we were originally looking at earlier this morning. So it's all kind of turned around, but it's going to rain somewhere. 8:43 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. It's the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. A couple of people celebrating birthdays today. My buddy Jim Bush is got a birthday. Happy birthday to you, James. Nice to play around with you over the weekend. Another fella that you might know, Dave Davis, is celebrating his birthday. Dave Davis, a frequent pundit and contributor on talk radio years ago, and finally it took off, but he's still got connections to Guam that most people would consider are not all that good. He took the island to court, took the government to court, and said this whole lineup and the only people that could run or vote in the status decolonization stat would be people that were born and raised and got records of being on Guam when the Organic Act made us all citizens of the United States. And I believe that's the gist of the case here. And the judges have so far agreed with him on that, which is why you and I are no closer. And Josh Tenorio and the One Pat Kid, everybody can go to Washington, D.C. and rail in front of the guys at the United Nations about we cannot get out from under the decolonization because we don't allow for universal suffrage here in those votes. Even though the United Nations itself says that if you're going to have these status elections, that you must make them universal suffrage. That means everybody is going to vote or nobody votes. And so far, nobody is voting here. It's 8:45 in the morning, but I suppose happy birthday to Dave Davis. Dave and I, notwithstanding other things that we've agreed and disagreed on over the years, Dave Davis and I actually did agree on one thing. It sucks to live on Guam after a typhoon. And one of the things that suck about living on Guam after a typhoon is, number one, bucket flushing. I don't like bucket flushing. I hate the idea of bucket flushing. I hate to have to resort to the old line, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. I never liked this since Typhoon Pamela and all of those big storms. Ever since, I've hated that part of it. The other part that I hate, and I can almost deal with everything else. I can almost find a way to be able to survive all of the rest of it. But the one thing that I cannot stand after with living like a caveman after a storm is cold showers. I hate cold showers. I'm just not that guy. I'm not built that way. There's something. It feels like 1,000 knives, just needles poking into my body. That cold water, and even after a second, where you begin to acclimate a little bit. It's still never, I think, total acclimation. And Dave recognized that in me and got me a gift many years ago. And the crazy thing is, I haven't needed to use it. I mean, and maybe that was the high side of this, because he bought me this. He bought me a camp shower, which is basically a piece of vinyl with the little shower connector on the end of it, and it's made of black vinyl. So you leave this thing out and just leave it out. I'm not saying leave it out in the sun. I'm just saying leave it out. And within a few minutes, it'll get hot. I mean, scald you hot. But anyway, I've never had a chance to try it, because since he gave it to me, there's never been a storm big enough to knock out the electricity long enough for me to have to worry about taking this thing and hanging it from a tree. So thank you, Dave Davis, for that. There's the T-shirt. Is there still somebody around here selling Deport Dave Davis shirts? Do we still have that around somewhere? I don't know. I thought I'd seen a couple of those on the Facebook thing. So happy birthday to you, Dave. Who's playing around with me on the Facebook Live? I see Yuka Hachinova's there, Bob Lazama, Brad Hewitt, Rudy Magallanes is on. John Barcinas and Nicholas says, Mabuhay from Manila. How long are you going to be there for, John? You going to be? Are you there for medical? Are you there for business? Are you there shopping for something? You remember once upon a time, everybody said, oh, we got to go buy such and such. I need to get ready for a birthday or an anniversary or a wedding or a funeral or something. Let's go to the Philippines and buy our stuff there because it's so much cheaper in the Philippines. And let me just say, after having spent some time in Manila recently, I don't know where you people are shopping because I can't find anything very cheap in Manila anymore. Relatively cheaper prices on beers, and I thought that was okay. Now that their gas prices weren't so bad either. Anyway, so Ken LG's there. Check out the photo I sent you. Clouds moving in on Santa Rita like a gray bulldozer blade, getting darker as the clouds hit us. All right, let me see if I can bring that scan that picture up. All right, on Facebook Live. The view from over at Ken LG's place, and sure enough, you can make out the gray clouds off in the background, which at least to him is signaling the fact that it's going to rain pretty soon over at his place. All right, well, that's what's going to happen, and yeah, we got Mike and I spending a couple of minutes talking about that on the radio just a few minutes ago. 888-825-5888-TALK. Who can we get to play with now? Ed and Larry from over at Gita. Okay. Let's get them on. Good morning, Ed and Larry. How you doing there?
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Not
Larry
bad.
And Ed Camacho here. Larry Tovis, Ed Camacho.
Ed, I haven't seen you in forever. How you been?
I've been good. How you doing?
I'm all right. Of course, and Larry and I were together in the war. That was, and I'm glad to have you on the phone.
Good morning, Ray.
Hey, bud. So the question I wanted to ask, and I don't know how related they are, but, the Department of Chamorro Affairs and some commentary over the last few days about we got to do something about putting the Chamorro back in the Chamorro village that was exaggerated and misinterpreted, and now it looks like the status quo is going to be the situation. But that could be changing soon with new leadership provided by Gita.
Yes, we are working towards an agreement with the Department of Chamorro Affairs, assisting them in a supportive role. At this time, we're not really clear yet whether we're going to take it over or whether we're going to support Amory down there. I think those details are going to be worked out very shortly. But it's work in progress right now, and we're just trying to figure out when will this begin and what our role is going to be.
All right, so
about supporting Chamorro Village.
Well, yeah, obviously in support of the Chamorro Village, but it doesn't sound like we've nailed down the responsibilities for the individual players, though. So Maria Arceo, currently with the Department of Chamorro Affairs, and they've got general oversight over everything that happens over at the Chamorro Village. Now, so you would not be coming in, or it doesn't sound like you guys would be coming in as say, managers of the Chamorro Village. You would not be taking over the whole operation.
No, Ray, that's actually in our draft MOA that we've actually prepared, and it's actually going through legal review. But the intent with the MOA is to assist, like Ed mentioned, the Department of Chamorro Affairs. Our role has not been defined specifically, but there's a possibility that Gita will actually take over the operations and management. We're providing the services for basically just property management and marketing efforts.
Right.
To revive the Chamorro Village, to bring it to its full potential.
So, but the draft would allow for total control of Chamorro Village by Gita. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, the intent here, with obviously it has to be approved by Department of Chamorro Affairs and their board, along with Gita and its board. But that's the intent moving forward.
Now, when we go back in time to the, I want to say the ADA administration and as they developed the Chamorro Village all of those years ago, the idea was for it to be some kind of a business incubator, small entrepreneurs getting together under a common roof and with common practices and common goals, but being able to see whether they could take their business dreams and get them big enough at one point to move out of the Chamorro Village and find other retail digs. I think that was the original intention of the Chamorro Village, correct?
Correct.
So now the idea
that hasn't happened. I mean, that you've had businesses that have been there since the opening of Chamorro Village,
right?
And that's okay. I mean, under the previous management, they allowed it, but we're going to look at the enabling legislation, and the lieutenant governor really wants to promote the small business incubator down there. So we got to figure out how we're going to make that work, and we're going to look at how we're going to, if there's going to be any renovation on the 34 festival huts that are there, to see how we can turn those into revenue-generating stalls for the Chamorro Village too.
That would be nice. Otherwise, just a kind of a very, very fancy and elaborate bus stops and pop-up opportunities when there's a 5K or something else that's going on down there. I'm curious now. You mentioned businesses that have been there since about day one, and I recall, very, very early on being a fan of Jamaican Grill, and they've had a property down there, obviously, or they've had a concern growing down there for many, many years. Arguably, they've opened up a couple of other locations outside of the Chamorro Village. Is it time for them to move on? And if you do move them on, it'd be like eliminating the anchor store. It's going to be like Payless moving out of Agana Shopping Center. What's left after that?
Yeah, we don't know, Ray. We're still good. We have to evaluate the situation down there. We're not sure. We don't want to kick anybody out, of course. And we just need to get a good list get their list of all their tenants down there and see who's been there since how long and what needs to be done going forward.
Yeah.
We're still not clear. We don't have a list yet of all the tenants down there. So when we start working with DCA on this, we'll be able to identify everyone down there, how long they've been, what type of revenue they're generating, how important they are to the village.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that information yet.
Are there other businesses that you would like to see move into Chamorro Village? Is there anybody on your list of entrepreneurs that you think would be a perfect fit for kind of a new and improved Chamorro Village?
Well, if we are going to look at an incubator, we also have, at GITA, we also have the Guam Product Sale Program.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some of our Guam Product Sale permit holders who may be ready to move up from a manufacturing to a retail. But, we'll cross that bridge when we're ready to. Right now, we just need to get a list, and we need to understand what's going on down there, which we don't have that information yet.
Right. And, and things seem to be changing up rather rapidly in the business community around here. We're starting to see a lot more fine dining pop up and fine dining locations that are popping up in places that used to be retail dry goods establishments. Somebody selling famous purses and scarves and watches, and now we've got a Red Lobster in there, and down the road from that was a place that I used to drool over Tag Heuer watches, and now that's Olive Garden.
Well, food drives customers.
That's right.
And if we can add more restaurants down to the Chamorro Village, I think that would be a good thing to do.
Well, I see, but the point of all of that is, just recognition. But even that industry is changing, where you've got entrepreneurs that would normally have been target guys to go into some place like the Chamorro Village. These guys aren't paying rent anymore. They're making payments on food trucks.
Yeah, I see that down there too.
Yeah, so there seems to be a lot that's going to be happening down there, and it would be interesting to see what the perfect world looks like in terms of the eyes of GITA.
Well, we're excited about this venture. We're looking forward to working closely with the management down there to see what we can do to come up with some ideas to help. Who knows what it's going to end up at the end of the day. Right. We have a lot of thoughts over here. We can't just tell you what they are just yet, but we're vetting them out, and we're starting to put a plan of action together.
As you said, as Larry said, there's a draft a proposal that is out there. Where are we in the stages of work on that? Who's the final signature, and about what time is that get to land on their desk?
Okay, so as it stands right now, Ray, the actual document in draft form is being vetted through our legal counsel and the governor's legal counsel at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We're just waiting for them to go ahead and approve for us to execute the MOA. The signatories obviously will be Department of Chamorro Affairs and GITA, and then it does go through the review and approval process as with any other MOA or contract. It goes through the AG and then the governor for her approval.
Are you suggesting that can we see this happen before Christmas, around Christmas time, or is this a 2020 prospect?
Well, there's a sense of urgency to get this done, obviously, because we have to look at the current situation with the Chamorro Village and how it's able to survive these last few years with the minimal revenue generation that they've been able to accomplish, but. Again, we're trying to get this done as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody vetting through it and everybody understanding what's required for each of the parties involved as far as responsibilities. And then hopefully, before Christmas, we can probably get something confirmed by then.
Yeah. So GITA taking over all of the operations. I mean, I would assume that means maintenance personnel, clean the bathrooms, make sure that there's security on the site all the time. All of those things.
That's correct.
Okay.
We have to include that in as well.
The entire kit and caboodle here for a change out in the management and leadership at the Chamorro Village. Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. You refer to their current situation, but I pass by there all the time and do my running over at the Paseo from time to time. The place in my mind seems to be looking okay, feeling okay, even when it's not Wednesday night. Are there other things that are going on there that are kind of behind the scenes that we're not aware of yet?
Well, going back to at least the last audit that was done by the OPA for the facility, there seemed to be a surge in revenue generation during FY17. We're actually hoping to get the audit from the Department of Chamorro Affairs for the last year, 2018. So we'll take a look at that. But yeah, there seemed to have been an increase in revenue.
Wait a second. Are you guys telling me something in the government of Guam is making money?
It seems that way. If you look at the audit as it is right now, at least the 2017 audit.
Sure. I'm just...
They some extra revenues down there.
Well, it's amazing. That might be the headline in the Daily Post tomorrow. An entity of the government of Guam is actually turning a profit. We're not in the black. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the draft that draft proposal. If you can get me a copy, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, we'll just wait and see after it's all signed off and done up right. Because as far as I'm concerned, it really is one of the jewels in the downtown Agutnia area. I love that feeling you get, between Wednesday and Thursday nights, where there's a lot of bustle going on one side of the street, and you got pop-ups and food trucks on the other side of the street. There's something about the recognition of the capital city being a place of activity and commerce again. That's fun. Ed, Larry, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate hearing from you guys.
No problem.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, man. 888-825-5888-TALK. Save that number. We gotta find Paul Tapaude. We absolutely ring him up, just beep him, and we got to find him. He promised on Friday. You remember he said on Friday that we would know a little bit more about the guy from Southern High. I want to see what we can get in the next hour of it on the program. We're KUSG Agutnia.
Thousands around the country. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. The administration says don't call them raids. Whatever you call them, they're keeping federal immigration agents busy.
At least 10 cities are the focus for the roundup of undocumented immigrants, and it was one of the topics today on Fox News Sunday. Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president, said the actions weren't raids, but, quote, final removal orders for people who are here illegally.
And ICE is going to do what they do every day, which is go ahead and enforce the law.
Assistant House Speaker Ben Ray Lujan, also on Fox News Sunday, said President Trump should be going after criminals, not children and families.
I'm terrified as to the fear that the president is instilling in families, the impact that this is going to have on small businesses across America.
Some city leaders, including New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, have said they would not cooperate with ICE.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Another controversial tweet by President Trump. He called out progressive congresswomen who, in his words, originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, suggesting they go back and help fix the crime-infested places from which they came. Senator Dick Durbin suspects the president was singling out Michigan Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a Somali refugee and practicing Muslim. She moved here with her family as a teenager.
I think there's only one in particular he's pointing to. The fact that they went through refugee camps, came to the United States, clawed their way into an existence, and eventually were elected. Thank goodness. That is part of what America holds as a dream for people around the world, and the president should not diminish it.
Durbin on CBS's Face the Nation. Barry downgraded to a tropical depression, making its way north into Arkansas. Life-threatening flash flooding still a concern from Louisiana into western Tennessee. Tornado warnings now in effect for about another hour from Slidell, Louisiana into southwest Mississippi. This is Fox News.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office, and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
I'm so sorry that this happened. Obviously, it was beyond all of our control.
That's Jennifer Lopez after last night's concert was cut short when a blackout plunged Madison Square Garden and much of Midtown Manhattan into darkness. No word on the cause, but there is no sign of terrorism, and J-Lo's concert has been rescheduled for tomorrow night. A warning we cannot hear enough. Little kids and lawnmowers do not mix.
The sheriff's office in Jennings County, Indiana, is investigating what they're calling a terrible accident. William Waltermeyer was mowing his lawn when he somehow backed over his 2-year-old grandson. It happened early Saturday afternoon in Comiskey, about 70 miles south of Indianapolis. Waltermeyer and his wife went to the sheriff's office in North Vernon requesting an ambulance for the toddler. The child was airlifted to the hospital having sustained serious injuries. The grandparents told police the child, while being chased by the grandmother, ran towards his grandfather while he was backing up the mower. He fell and went under the machine while it was still running. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
A chess grandmaster caught cheating during a match?
It sounded innocent on the surface. 58-year-old Igor Rosas was playing a match at a tournament in France and took a bathroom break. And according to the UK's Daily Telegraph, was seen on surveillance video looking at his smartphone, and that is a no-no. The chess world considers that cheating because a player can potentially use smartphone apps to look at past moves and matches to get an edge on their current game. Rosas tells Chess.com that he simply lost his mind, insinuating that he mistakenly looked at his phone because he was tired. It's so serious that the tape was sent to an ethics committee, and the French police are also involved. Ken Duffy, Fox News.
No cheating in this match on ESPN. It was a marathon men's Wimbledon final. After 5 sets, Novak Djokovic the winner. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Yes, I have it all here in front of me, the comprehensive list of Ray Gibson Show sponsors, including the guys over at Ruby Tuesdays. Great starters, lunches and dinners, price to please, and a brand new Ruby Tuesdays favorite menus. They've got dips and wings, burgers and tacos, and I don't know how you like your steak or your salmon, but you know, for me, I like to have a bunch of different flavors in the mix, so they've got toppers on their steaks and their salmon over at Ruby Tuesdays. You really got to try it for a limited time at Ruby Tuesdays. The Point brought to you by APL, global presence with a local home. You can save all kinds of money in the future on solar products now with Micronesia Renewable Energy. Save you money on your power bill and maybe even change the way that you think about batteries and how they can store up the energy that you're using, that you get from the sun, and then you can use that at night. Micronesia Renewable Energy will tell you all about that, and it is the summer of Jeep. If you have not yet, please make plans to test drive. And can you imagine weather like this today? Test drive a Jeep Wrangler and then buy it. It's a simple process at Cars Plus as they celebrate the summer of the Jeep.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
I got to dig that out. That audit report that Larry was talking about from 2017 showed a surge in revenue over at the Chamorro Village. And so it is possible that at least of 2017, there was something in the government of Guam that was actually making money. What kind of a miracle is that? and I'm looking, going, and then what happened to the dough? Where did it go? Where'd that extra cash go? Is it still floating around the Chamorro Village? Is it still down there? Did it go into some kind of maintenance? I got to say that at the Chamorro Village, if you go eat at the Jamaican Grill, over in the corner, and everybody should at some. I'd like to go there at least once a month if I can. But if you need to use the restroom, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't air conditioned like the place over at the beach bar, but it's relatively clean. They've got it well stocked, and it seems to be the one bathroom in the entire government of Guam that somebody is looking after. Now, I don't know that it's being looked after by the government of Guam or people that run Chamorro, the Chamorro Village, or maybe it's something that the guys over at Jamaican Grill are doing, to make sure that there is at least some semblance of sanitation and convenience for their customers.
Yeah, it seems to me like the only sort of uptick in income that would come to Guam from increased business at Chamorro Village would perhaps be licenses for the businesses and the GRT. Otherwise, they're not going to make anything else.
Well, but
the proprietors
offer,
of the businesses are making money.
Yeah, they must be. I mean, they got to pay some kind of rent down there, so they at least keep the operations going. Might be worth. I don't know. I'll watch and see how motivated I get later on. I might dig into the public auditor's website and see about that and see what the prospects are for 2018. That's the other thing, is to give you an idea of just where we've got to go in the government in terms of being able to watch money go out and come in. Is this audit? The most recent numbers they've got for the Department of Chamorro Affairs and the Chamorro Village is from 2017. Really? Really? It's 2018 has been over for 6 months. You'd think by now we'd be able to get some of those numbers together, but I don't know. I don't know. I digress. 909-888-8255, 888-TALK. A couple of things on the table of contents this morning that I might have touched on, but not necessarily riffed on. There's $4.6 million in tax refunds that are out, bringing the total roughly maybe $61 million in refunds since the government started writing checks on that. That's good money. That's some sweet dough. And if you're one of them that, as soon as you got all your paperwork together, immediately marched down to the Revenue and Taxation and filed your tax returns, well, good on you. Up to February the 8th so far. And like I said, it's $60 million or so in tax refunds that have gone out and several thousand checks. And the question that I have in my head is, does it feel like there's $60 million floating around the economy? Are you going places and it's busy all the time? Are you going places, you find yourself in line to pay for things more often? Are you hearing about people getting jobs in a retail game? Because business is so good out there, they're hiring again. All of the different metrics, whether they're formal metrics or informal metrics. What are you looking at? What are you seeing out there that gives you an idea that there's $60 million? Not Korean money, not Japanese money, not military money. Is our dough going out to just plain old folks that, for whatever reason, overpaid their taxes last year and got a refund? I don't know. I suppose we'll ask a few people if they're feeling that kind of a surge, uptick in spending in the economy. I know for me, some of the places that I go where I have to stand in some kind of a line to pay Home Depot. I don't mind. I'll use the self checkout, but I'm the worst guy in the self checkout place because. I never, you get these big boxes, right? I told you I bought a chainsaw over the weekend because I needed a nice 18-inch. It's an 18-inch chainsaw because you can cut down more tree with an 18-inch chainsaw. So I bought it, and it's in the cart. And, yeah, I could have picked it up and scanned it. But it's so much easier. Just ask the lady over there with the little scanning gun, and she'll come over and do it. And then what the heck? She's over there. She did that one. She might as well do all the rest of them as well. Did you get the toilet paper, right? Did you get the light bulbs? Okay, everything is in there. And so that's one of the fun things that we get to do when we hang out there. But it's always crowded. When I went to go and get the chainsaw the other day, I want to say it was about 7:30 or so at Home Depot, and the parking lot was already full. So there must be some additional dollars and cents rolling around here. And purchases being made from folks that have got their tax refund checks and are out there spending them. And I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Go and get some. Whose money at Jimmy D's? That's lawyer money, I want to say. You know what it is? It's jet ski money. When you're floating around there, I want to say that there is and I can't remember the name of the guy that runs it, but there's a jet ski company in the back, and they are always busy. I've never been there where there's just a bunch of guys standing around waiting for customers. There's always a van. And I think you see the same thing with some of these other jet ski rental places and amusement places where they will let you ride around in a jet ski for a half hour and $50. They're just always cranking because there's a lot of people that want to do it. So I don't know. I think maybe that's where some of that dough is coming from. Good morning. There's Agnes Plemenko on the line. You might have seen her over at a big Zumba get-together in the last couple of days. Scott Nelson's on. Chris Chip is there asking the question, is the government the question is, the government is making money or people in the government is making money? My own comments on that was, something in the government of Guam is making money. Hold my beer. I'll fix that. I'll fix that. They're not supposed to be making any money around here. We're supposed to be running in the red, deficit spending for fiscal year after fiscal year. We got to get these guys up with the program. Chris saying, Gita looking for another way to squeeze money from people who appear to enjoying it as it is. If it's not broken, leave it alone. Joey Cepeda's out there. I got Richard Leone online. Sam Beanie requesting that they remove the stores with tacky, cheap plastic Chinese products. We want the untacky, cheap plastic Chinese products. Barking toy dogs, what they got there. Well, you know, that's what people want to buy, and that might be the only place to do it. They've got a store there that does personalized stuff, and I remember walking around in there for a little bit just pondering whether I needed any of that stuff, and the fact of the matter is I don't need anything that they've got there. Do I want some of that? Yeah, I could go back there by myself one of these days. Looking, Noram Garcia Tabs is on. I, too, where Guam folks shop at and find cheap stuff. Where do I go for the cheap stuff? There are a couple of places. Remember where the old J&G was in Payless, right across the Calvo compound? I can't remember the name of the store, but there is a place in there, and I want to say it's like a dollar store, but it's not. And this place is always crowded as well. Right, you got the San Jose market at one end and Townhouse Furniture in the other, and clear over by the other side, over by the Kirby Company is another place. And every time I've been in there, I've walked out with just a ton of stuff, spending like, I don't know, $30. You know, it's like you got to set up a house, and you need stuff to stick in drawers that hold knives and forks and something to dry plates on. You can get all of that stuff for nothing dollars. You can go. There's other places. Shop for Less. Thanks, Maka. That's the name of it. Shop for Less. Now there's other places where you can go and get the pretty chrome ones. There, and I guess the new trend is that it has to be made out of copper. Just when everybody got their kitchen all stainless steel compatible, the powers that be come back and say, actually, copper is the new trendy color in bathrooms and kitchens. So you've got to get all of the crap that you know what? Never mind all. Just go get the cheap plastic stuff over at Shop for Less, and you'll be just as happy. You will go to heaven just as quickly for having spent less at places like Shop for Less. I like to go to Quang Hoa. Quang Hoa is another one of those places. I can close my eyes and know exactly where to go inside Quang Hoa for whatever my Quang Hoa needs are. There was a time a few years ago I got real heavy into a smoking meat because somebody gave me a smoker. And I thought, well, if I'm going to smoke meat, I'm going to try to learn how to do it good or well or all right. And one of the most important things about smoking meats is you've got to keep the temperature correct. Very difficult to do if you're working with burning wood. And I thought, and in fact, the smoker only had one what do you call it, thermometer dial on it. But the truth is, real good smokers come with multiples because you want to see how hot it is at the fire, you want to see how hot it is in the middle, and how hot it is up at the grill, so you can modulate the heat. And I found the best way to do that was with a ring of fire, butane. Ring of fire, like you'd see at virtually every Chinese restaurant on Guam.
Yeah, gas is always easier to control when you're cooking.
Exactly.
I love gas.
So I got one of those, and somebody said, "Well, where do you buy that?" Quang Hoa. Is it expensive? No, no. And it doesn't need to be. There's a valve and a place for the gas to come out, and that's it. There's a little tube that connects to your propane container, and that's all you literally need to do. You could spend a whole lot of money and get stuff that's made out of stainless steel. You go to Kwang Wah and get the stuff that's made out of pig iron, and it works just as well, and it costs about a third as much. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking is there could be some other places for that. What are we saying? What are we saying about the copper in the kitchen? Copper is antibacterial, or is thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. Joe says copper is antibacterial, or is it brass? Make up your mind, because whatever it is, it's going to be on sale at Macy's in another couple of minutes here. 9:17 in the morning, so we got to that $4.6 million in tax refunds that are out there. And, yeah, as I said, a lot of it's probably going to get spent over at Shop for Less and Kwang Wah and dollar stores and places like that. Mike?
Actually, both are antimicrobial because brass and bronze are alloys of copper.
Okay, and so it's antibacterial. So is it possible that I could just, get the same antibacterial effect by just washing my stuff every once in a while, or wiping it down with Windex?
It stands to reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Now, I did mention this before, and I completely forgot to get back to it. Every once in a while, remember the same way a few months ago they were doing that thing where it was just you type into the Google search box Florida man and today's date, or Florida man and your birthday, and something would come up that was talking about some guy in Florida stepping on the wrong side of the law or trying to get themselves into the Guinness Book of hillbilly records. Yeah. But so today, I want you to try the same thing. But instead of typing in Florida man and your birthday, what I want you to type into the Google search bar is filthier than a toilet seat.
Oh, there's so much.
Can you imagine? Things that are filthier than a toilet seat that we get to touch all the time. Example off the top of my head, the rail on an escalator.
Yes.
That has got to be it's got to be just covered in stuff that just kill you.
Pretty much any doorknob.
Yeah. But the latest thing that they have found to be filthier than a toilet seat is the little buttons on elevators.
Yeah.
The little buttons on elevators. The prevalence of bacteria on your toilet seat will be something on the order of about 43%. The prevalence of bacteria that will make you sick and have fluids coming out of both ends of your body for 2 or 3 days at a time, elevator buttons have about 61% prevalence of those kind of make you ill bacterias. This is one of those. This is why those little tubes of hand sanitizer are so good. But have you ever read any of the tests on the hand sanitizer? I mean, it feels good when you put them on, right?
Right.
Yeah. And my favorite kind of hand sanitizer is the one that evaporates and leaves your hands feeling clean and dry. But they've got hand sanitizers with stuff in it, and it just comes out feeling kind of goopy, and I hate that one. So never get me that one. Just get me the one that's mostly alcohol, and that will make me feel better. So you that stuff there, you put that on, but they've done some tests on that and discovered that the efficacy of these things wasn't all that much better than just washing your hands with soap and water. Unfortunately, it's hard to find a clean enough sink where you can wash your hands in. Anyway, 20 after 9 o'clock in the morning. So there, I've gotten that part out of my system. Guam culinary hospitality is completely worthless without the same exact civilian American hostage compensation equality. What are you talking about now, Patrick? American hostages who were held in Iran. In other words, discrimination towards American citizens of an unincorporated political status, but Guam delegates are not able to recognize an injustice when they see one. Okay, I don't know whether to agree or disagree with you on the Guam culinary hospitality, Patrick, but I will suggest that going endlessly to the United Nations whenever they call, whenever they want to do something to make America look bad, we'll call Guam and talk about decolonization efforts that take place here on Guam. Well, the truth of the matter is, if we were to follow the United Nations rules, then Dave Davis would be allowed to vote in our plebiscite. That children that weren't made citizens here by virtue of the Organic Act, but nonetheless call Guam home and have made all kinds of sacrifices and investments into lifestyle and business here on Guam, they ought to be able to vote in that. And if they did it the way the UN says, They would. So I don't get that feeling like there is still the thumb of the white fathers in the tall Quonset huts in Washington, D.C. holding us down. As much as, if we wanted to do it the way they want it prescribed, our own plebiscite rules would be in violation. At least that's the way I see it. 9:22 in the morning. Other items in the table of contents, as I said, it's liberation. It's liberating, isn't it? Yeah, Patrick's going to write something else. And then there's that. Liberation festivities that some of them have already started. I had a great time yesterday at something that could be considered a liberation festivity, and that was that free 5K over at MWR. And I originally thought I would hate running at 7 o'clock in the morning because the sun was already up. And I was right. I hated it. I mean, I absolutely hated this. It was at 7 o'clock. I got up at 6, got myself cleaned up, went over to the Radio Barrigada area. Nice crowd that they had. And as they said, everything was free. They get you a T-shirt, and that was nice. And your Holy colors. Everybody there got a packet of the Holy colors because it was a color run. And so at the start of the race, everybody threw the thing up in the air. And I generally stay away from those things. And it's not because I'm not a holy festival kind of guy. I am. I like the colors. I like that festive feel that they get. It's just that those colors don't wash off right away. And I know people that probably today still have the colors that they had at the end of the colors race yesterday. So there's that. But it was well attended. It was nice over, and it's nice to see something happening at Radio Barrigada again. It used to be a little bit busier with the golf course that they had there, and then they finally closed down the golf course. And said, well, just how many golf courses does the military need on Guam? They got a nice one up at Anderson Air Force Base, and so that's where everybody goes and golfs anymore. But I kind of like that place. I mean, it was an easy course, but it has gone literally to the pigs and the ungulates down there. But the other thing that I thought was interesting, there was a little bit of a hello and how are you from the CO. Apparently there is a CO of Radio Barrigada. And I'm going, that has got to be the worst job there is in the Navy. Because there's nothing going on there. There's a little bit of a circle of houses that they redid a few years ago, and I've never seen the gate open. There's a fire station that they've got there, but I don't know who would call them because it's not like there's an air base across the street over at Tidzin. So I don't know who they do business with. There's no golf course there anymore. There's a little bit of a training and command center, but I think that belongs to the Army Guard because it seems to me that those are the vehicles that I see running up around there. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly this has got to be the Maytag repairman of the United States Navy because there is just nothing going on that particular facility. I hope that there is more to be done there down the road. I know that there's a lot of activities and training that takes place there. But as I said, I just thought that was a kind of an interesting deal.
I hear James Howard suspects that there's alien communication going on up there.
James Howard and I are going to represent Guam as we storm the Area 51.
Yeah, brought to you by the same people that brought you the Tide Pod Challenge.
It is a real thing, and it's going to take place September 20th. And I'm going to start putting in my paperwork for a trip now.
Yeah, it's not real, though.
It's okay. It's all right. But have you been following any of the Area 51 memes?
Oh, I have. No,
it just gets funnier and funnier every day.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the new version of the Helen Keller jokes.
Here's the thing. Even though it's been, it was, number one, it started out as a gag, and everybody's known it's a gag, but it's gained so much energy, and you have so many idiots on Facebook. Sorry, folks, but that's just, look, check your Facebook feed. You'll see that I'm telling you the truth. Mm-hmm. There will be actually people that are going to show up. And for that reason. And, of course, there are going to be other folks that show up to watch those idiots. And, it's going to be very interesting.
They can't stop us all is the theory behind this. The Area 50, the Area 51 meme. There's I'm sure there's plenty of bullets. Lady D's online. Paz Affligui saying hello. Nick Perlosky, when we're talking about stuff that probably needs to be cleaned on a regular basis and may actually be filthier than a toilet seat. Nick asking about self-serve soft drink dispensers. How often are they cleaned? Now, I'm the guy. If I'm given the opportunity to get a drink with a meal, I'll almost always go for the bottled version of the drink from the meal, as opposed to for exactly that reason. Because it just seems to me that there might be some gunk in there that looks like it comes out of the bottom of a pan of a refrigerator. You know, it just got that, and you'd never know it because it's always filled with some kind of liquid or fluid or something. And I go, you know, I feel like this isn't going to be clean. Like there's something that's mixing in with the food and the drinks. I'm sure there isn't, but there in my mind, it's one of those things where, you know, it's probably the last thing that gets cleaned at the last, you know, shift of the week or something like that before anybody does something.
I mean, supposedly all of the dispensaries are supposed to be cleaned at least once a week thoroughly. Mm-hmm. But, you know, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
I meant to do it, but gosh, I forgot.
I forgot. Rico Blancaflor online saying there's nothing in Area 51. They moved it all to another area called Area 52. I'm sure they put the contingencies for exactly that kind of plan. If you go to Area 51, you will wake up in an orange jumpsuit in Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, there is that possibility. Or they might just shoot you on sight. I mean, as far as I know, there are literally thousands of signs in the area that say that use of lethal force is authorized.
Yes.
And there might not be a warning shot. No. It just come out and cap one.
Especially if the military actually thinks that, you know, tens of thousands of people are going to descend upon their location, they will probably be lined up in their vehicles waiting on them, and it will not be pretty.
All right. Now, speaking of pretty, Pia Mia is coming back to Guam. She's got a performance that's going to be on Saturday. I'm not sure how long the performance is going to be. It says 8 to 8:30, and it just seems to me that she's got more than a half hour's worth of tunes and might be able to shake it longer than a half hour. But I don't know. That's what the schedule, the lineup says now. So if you've got ideas about hanging out at the carnival on Saturday night, and like I said, I got a feeling Agania is just going to be party central this weekend. I don't know that you need to go anyplace else. You might want to find a spot down in the downtown area, park the car, and pitch a tent, because maybe you are going to be there for all weekend. Wouldn't that be great? Just start on Friday. Like, take happy hour on Friday and just make it go clear through Monday. Right? That sounds like crazy fun to me. It has been a while. I got to look at the calendars to see when the last time we've done Liberation on a Sunday. When the last time that was. It probably wasn't all that long ago, but I recall it being kind of a crazy night. In fact, I remember doing one Saturday night onto a Sunday morning Liberation Parade when I was over on Power, and we brought everything. I had a stage going. We had beer guys out there, and I want to say we were giving away free beer. I don't think we were giving it away as much as we might have been selling it for something ridiculously low price. And boombox out with the DJs. It's just a crazy, crazy night, and one of those where, frankly, it was easier to just stay there and party than it would have been to attempt to drive home and try to come back in time to start work at 7 or 8 o'clock the next morning. So I got a feeling that there might be some of those kinds of activities taking place. And what the heck, with all of the spaces having been taken in the last couple of days. Friday, I guess they had everybody go out and line up for their space, and all of those now are going to be occupied. And all you need to figure out is the logistics of getting your actual tent down there and put up. Because I think there's a finite number of tents that you can rent on Guam, and I'm almost positive at this point they've all been reserved. They've all been reserved. So it might be one of those where, what's your tent? It's going to be $500 or $600 pop-ups that we found over at Kmart, and we're just going to string all of those guys together. But I'm looking forward to it. You know me and my relationship with the Liberation Carnival. As far as I'm concerned, it is an island-wide fiesta. And it is one of those days where we all get together, politicians, and you might be, the hardest left liberal or the hardest right conservative, but you get down together with your buddies over a couple of beers and barbecue over at in Agania, waiting for the Santa Rita float to come by and win again. I mean, that's in my mind, that's like the ultimate. That's why we do this kind of thing. It's the yearly reminder that we're going to get together and we're going to have ourselves kind of one of these party until the lights go out parties. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, look at the time. It's 9:31 already. Take a look at some of the other paperwork that I've got and some interesting things that I thought maybe we could riff on between here and the end of the show. And I will, probably on the other side of some important messages. It's 9:32. I got to say that again. It's 9:32, and that's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask them about saving money for the rest of what's left of 2019. They've got all kinds of great plans, mobile and internet plans. And if you're in business, may I suggest push to talk. Lots to love about that.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
It's a salad, and it's a tasty salad. It's the berry burst chicken salad from Wendy's. And you know, you never know when they're going to be pulling these promos. That's the thing. So you've had it before, and you liked it, and it's back. So I would suggest that maybe if you're looking for a lighter kind of lunch or a light kind of dinner, or maybe you just like salads, get to Wendy's and try it out. Grilled chicken, we got fresh berries in it, feta cheese. We sprinkle some sliced almonds or whatever it is on top of that. The raspberry vinaigrette dressing. There's a lot happening in your mouth. Brought to you by Wendy's.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Monday. It's Moo Moo Monday. I call it Moo Moo Monday here because I was looking around for some kind of a fatted cough to kill tonight. Did you call the chief of police? Sorry, did I miss that? No, we've been trying to get a hold of Officer Paul Tapau, and I was going to sneak into the conversation. I was going to say, Paul, tell me about these cool new tactical outfits that the police are wearing these days. They're going through a trial period with a couple of officers in these particular uniform colors that they're wearing. It's going to be kind of all blue, but tactical material. So it's not quite dressy cop pants. But I guess the idea is we would be ready to be tactical SWAT without having to change our clothes because we'd already be kind of wearing them already. And I'm wondering if they're if they're also clothes that make being in this climate a little bit more tolerable. I mean, you got to wear tactical clothes. Are there clothes that you can wear that are suited for life at 13 degrees above the equator? I thought that out loud. At the MWR race yesterday, because for as benign a thing as a 5K colors run, they had uniformed officers, armed officers there, like the president was coming. There was a guy in front of the gate. There was a guy behind the gate. And he was joined by another half a dozen dudes in BDUs. And seriously, BDUs, bulletproof attire, and more than one or two pieces of firearms on them at the time.
That's a statement of the times we live in. You know, you just
it's a 5K. It's a 5. It is the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to choke on the holy dust as they're sprinkling that around. But I'm looking at this guy and thinking, oh, I'm so glad I'm not him, because it was hot. It was ugly and it was muggy hot out at the place. And all I could think of was this guy's got to be sweating right through his clothes. I mean, right through the boots. I don't know that that's the case. And I hope whatever material they're giving to the police officers, have got that tactical nature where, it could take running up against something sharp without giving too much or tearing too much, but won't necessarily suffocate these guys in their clothes. And if they do have that kind of material, I want to buy some. Where can I get that? Can I just go to the store and say, I want whatever it is that the cops are wearing, that's what I want to wear when I'm out hiking or something like that. Anyway, 9:36. I was going to use that to sneak into the conversation with Officer Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department, and then, in my sneaky Ray Gibson way, go, oh, by the way, what's the latest now on the guy from Southern that brought the gun to school, left it in the car gets burglarized by a 17-year-old, little twerp causes the place to go on lockdown all day long, and so he has been busted, and is, my understanding is going to get tried as and charged as an adult in this case, which is right. I don't have a problem. That part I don't have a problem with. But the question is, he would not have had access to that gun had somebody not brought it onto the campus. Now, I want to say this story goes back to, what, May of this year, May the 2nd, early May. Is that about right? Maybe April. Maybe late. But it was near the end of the school year, so it would be around May that this happened. There was immediate action taken by the Department of Education and some kind of administrative review that took place, but no names. We didn't get to hear any names here. Same thing, and the police department said, well, we're going to conduct an investigation. And it has been all of this time. And when I spoke to Officer Paul Tapau last week, he said, Friday. I'll have something for you on Friday. And he was talking about Friday last. Well, we weren't able to get a hold of him on Friday last. And can't get a hold of him now. Maybe he's on, cop duty at one of these memorials. He was
called into a meeting.
Called into a meeting?
Yes. He did get back to me, but he was called into a meeting.
Well, I see.
Probably about the guy at Southern High School.
Right. Yeah, gotta be. They called him into a meeting and said, today's the day that we're going to spill the beans, make identities known. Who was it that brought that gun to Southern High? And that's mixed in with the other conversation that happened around the same time, when a school bus driver was approached by a couple of kids on the bus and identified themselves as riding the wrong bus. Yes. And what would you do in that situation? It's a tough one. Boy, there's a mental challenge if I ever heard one. What do you do? And so this driver stops the bus, opens the doors, get out. You're on the wrong bus. And I'm sure rightful indignation ensues. People all over the island getting ticked off, especially because they thought if that happened to those kids, it could happen to my kids. And it dropped them off in the back road, for heaven's sakes. What? I'm trying to think of someplace worse to drop kids off. Anything can happen back there. Thankfully, though, the good thing happened, and they were picked up by folks who had a little bit more common sense. And we're taken care of. But the same thing, right? We got Vince Arreola, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. John Fernandez, mea culpa, mea culpa. We never heard from the driver, never heard any mea culpas from the driver that dropped off these two kids. I presume now that it is July, and I don't know about you, but I'm seeing more buses on the road these days. I believe that might be some kind of training that they're doing with some of these bus drivers going in. But end of the day, are we training our people to make sure that this doesn't get done again? Is this other driver being used as some kind of an example of how not to do it? Inquiring minds want to know, but they ain't going to tell us. They're gonna go, oh, I'm sorry, it's a personnel matter, and you don't get to know that stuff. So those are just a couple of the things that we are waiting on here. And no, I haven't forgotten. We'll eventually get them. They can run, but they can't hide. They eventually have to go on the radio and talk to me. What was interesting, though, I mean, if you're wondering about some of the stuff that you did miss this morning, I did spend a little bit of time with Clint Rigel. Clint, among a bunch of senators who got to go on a field trip last Friday. That's right, trekking into the boondocks of Northwest Field, where there's going to be a firing range, because Marines are coming to Guam. And Marines don't go anywhere. There's no firing range because they have to practice all the time to be Marines. We're having deer for dinner, honey.
It's Christmas in July.
I know it. So that's what's going on there. And it sounded like, from my conversation with Clint Rigel, that any concern that he might have had about the tree might have been assuaged by comments that were made by not just the admiral, but other people in the joint region that said, no, we got it. We got it. Just easy now. We got it. We've been aware of this tree since some of you were in high school. We got it. We'll take care of it.
What strikes me about the whole thing is this uproar. They had a public demonstration down in and all of this stuff, and they were like, we'll just move the border, and it'll be fine.
Okay, we fixed it. Anything else?
Yep.
Oh, can we do a pause on any other construction? Wait out 6 months because the tree. And they said, well, we weren't going to do anything till next year anyway. So we don't know what it is that you people are getting all excited about. Yeah, the last one of its kind. It's probably going to fall down and die in the next typhoon. Which there is nothing that the admiral or the governor or Donald J. Trump can do about it. It's nature, and that's all there is to it. There are some seedlings around there, and even those are in jeopardy because, again, nature. There's animals out there that will trample on them and maybe eat the seedlings, and then people get all their knickers in a notch when they hear that the military has gone out and started shooting the deer. Oh, you can't shoot the deer. Only we can shoot deer. You can't shoot the pig. Only we can shoot pigs. The ungulates and the disaster that they are for the environment up there. Just fun. But I will say, I told you I went fast hiking in Agate, right? And there were a couple of parts of the hike that you could only go into a pig trail. And I got into this pig trail. I wouldn't normally talk to you like this, but it's late enough in the program. It's a small talk portion of the program anyway. And so I am on my hands and knees, going through the sword grass. And I looked down. I don't know what caused me to look down at the time. Maybe there was an aroma. There was a subtle aroma. And I looked down, and there is a pile of, gee, I just missed it. Pig poop. And when I say I just missed it, it looked like it had just been deposited there a second or two ago with the distinction, though, of having a handprint in it from somebody that didn't see it or smell it first. Yeah, I didn't shake anybody's hand for the rest of the day because I don't know who it was that missed it, but I put out the warning to my fellow hikers that they needed to look out for that kind of thing. Where are we? It's 9:44 in the morning. Is that where we are? The tree of life. Now I'm wondering if there's going to be more, because what my takeaway from the conversation was, yeah, okay, they showed us the tree. But now we're going to go back to being upset about, what is it? How do I want to term this? Bulldozing of the ancient Chamorro villages into non-existence down there that they have been talking about. And so some of the folks over at the legislature, okay, got it. Well, the tree's going to be all right. Thanks very much. And now about these little Chamorro villages. I'm trying to find a way to small villages. And I almost said village idiots. Everybody's got one. It's not where I wanted that to go, but the idea now is I think they're going to be going over all of these discoveries that are being made. Actually, I think they knew about them already and probably put everything down in the programmatic agreement. So I don't know what else is going to happen. I'm sure there is going to be another shoe that's going to drop on this, but I don't know when it's going to happen and who's going to do it. This is going to end up being somebody that I'm going to have to remind later on that I'm on the air until 10. Every morning. You can call if you want to, but I ain't gonna answer the phone. The legislature is going to be in session at some point today. There's a couple of appointees that they want to look at and confirm. There's somebody that's going to be going to the useless GRTA and going to figure out how to spend more money down there on what has got to be just the poster child for how we continue to get it wrong, and that is mass transit here on Guam. And then there's another somebody that is looking to get some kind of a confirmation. Yeah, Clint said it looks like the tree is dying. The tree is dying, and they've known about it. They've known about it for a long time. There's only so much that can be done with a tree that's got some kind of interior fungal rot or something like that, and that's the end of it. But it's not the last of its kind. It will not go extinct. They grow them by the thousands up in Rhoda. It's the same tree. And there used to be a whole lot more here on Guam, and that's just the way it goes. It's only nature, guys. Lion King's plan, if you want some nature that's going to make you cry, you got that. I only bring that up because it's amusing to me. I've got a couple of friends, millennial age friends. They don't have kids of their own. And they were asking some of the parents that we were around the other day, they were asking, can we borrow your kids? I said, why? It's because we want to go watch Lion King. We don't want people to tease us for being grown-ups and going to watch a little kid movie. So we need to have some pretend nieces and nephews to take with us. That's cool. So, yeah, if you're going to cry over something, you might have some crying to do on that one. Where are we now? And the other items in the table of contents here that I was looking at, there's a story about that soup kitchen in the downtown Agutnia area in jeopardy. It looks like it may fall on the list of assets that the church is going to need to sell in order to satisfy the victims of the clergy abuse cases that they figure are going to be getting judgments and damage awards in the millions and millions and millions. And it's kind of odd. You know, you get to be a 57-year-old guy, basically grew up in and around the church all of my life. You know, Catholic schools growing up, Catholic high schools, all of that. I got married once in a church. Thought that was a pretty interesting experience, a bunch of sacraments. And the church has been just in so much trouble. And so many people coming forward and saying, Father touched me in an inappropriate way. And there's not a whole lot by way of evidence one way or the other than admissions that there were failings in the church to be able to protect young boys, young girls from predatory priests. And it's odd because the numbers of these cases and the number of priests that were involved in them, it seemed like everybody was dirty one way or the other.
You know, when I got here,
I got classmates that have been accused.
When I got here in 2017, February, I think there were like 15 cases on the books at that time. Of course, now you see the number. This, by and large, has been the one thing that has really shocked me about Guam, is that it's not that it happened, because we all know that it has happened
in all
everywhere.
kinds of dioceses everywhere.
And yes, and so that's no surprise. But it's the amount. This is a tiny island. To have that many cases on this island, it just shows that somebody was not paying attention or just simply turned the other way and condoned it all.
Well, not so much condoning it, but denying that it could possibly happen. It could possibly happen. A kid goes to the mom and says, "Mom, Polly touched me in my privates." And the mom goes, "No, that's impossible. He is an officer of the church. He is a direct descendant of the apostles. There's no way that could have happened."
Yeah, but I think those in the power up in the upper parts of the church here had to know that it was happening.
Oh, well,
they just allowed it. They're the ones that.
They were moving priests around is one of the things.
Yeah.
So if it looked like somebody was getting out of hand, everybody knew about it, and they'd stick them on a plane and took them somewhere else,
like the shell game.
But it's just so odd that in my lifetime we may see not just the spinning out of assets of the church, but actual church properties besides that, might have been a school once upon a time, might have been a soup kitchen once upon a time with a big fiery holy cross on it. And what's that going to be? What is the soup kitchen going to turn into down the road? Will somebody outside of the archdiocese take that over when it gets sold off or something? It's in a pretty nice neighborhood in downtown Agutnia. Wouldn't be a terrible place to have a house, a home, something like that. And the schools. What could possibly happen to the schools if those are spun out as assets? Even the land the churches are on. And so the question is, can you imagine? And it's not just a question of can you imagine, it's going to happen. It's just a question of, what the judges decide are going to be the kind of awards that are going to be granted in this particular case. So I had originally stayed away from the conversation as somebody on talk radio because it just made me feel icky every time it came up. And I don't need a whole lot of ickiness in my life, if you will. So it was one of those things I didn't really pay that much attention to. But now that we are getting to the point where awards are going to be given, and it could change the visible complexion of the church on Guam as we see it, because it might be the only thing they got left is going to be the churches. Maybe everything else going to be spun out. I was asked once upon a time to see if there was any work that I might be able to lend to one of the Catholic radio stations around here because needed some expertise and some advice. And I said I'd be happy to. And they stopped calling. I said, well, I'm waiting for a meeting. And they said, we don't know what's going to happen with the church radio station. It might be one of those things where they're going to spin that out to a higher bidder somewhere and just mail them, here, buy the equipment, mail the license back to the Federal Communications Commission. You just never know. But it's odd now that we're at that stage where we're going to have that conversation. And who knows, it won't be too much longer before we start seeing some of these awards going out. 9:51, producer says I got to take a break. Carl, coming your way next.
Get 2 Pepsi 12-packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12-packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
I'm sure you're probably going, well, what an incredible life Ray Gibson must lead. Get to go fast hiking, get to run free 5Ks. I wonder what kind of really interesting people he hangs out with on the weekend, and what kind of stories he can tell on the radio based on those adventures with those very interesting and adventurous people. The truth of the matter is, the most interesting conversation I think I got into over the weekend had to do with sandals. Women's sandals, as a matter of fact. Don't ask why I was involved in that. Because I'm, not an expert in any way, shape, or form on ladies' footwear, but it was an interesting conversation to the degree that they were pondering. This is an active, real-life conversation. Everybody's got their phone out, and they're looking at Amazon websites and stuff for different kind of sandals to buy. And naturally, I can't mind my own business for any longer than about 20 seconds, so I chimed in and said, my friend Renee has got these lovely Birkenstock white sandals, and they when originally you say she's wearing Birkenstock shoes, in your head you're thinking it's Lola Granola, right? Prairie Mom out there, but they're actually really nice step-ins. And so I said, Renee, send me a picture of your shoes so I can get involved in this conversation. Yep, love to say that it was one of those soaring conversations with brilliant beyond brilliant people, but no, it's just a bunch of folks hanging out at the beach, drinking beer, and talking about women's shoes. Carl, tell me you had an interesting conversation with somebody this weekend.
Yeah, I had a few.
Yeah, good. Well, now, what was the nature of the conversation?
I was fortunate enough to go with a friend down to Ascent Beach and watch a ceremony commemorating the landing of the Marines, the 3rd Marine Division, and other parts of the military on Guam.
Cool.
And it was really a very nice ceremony. Governor Liu did a short speech. The colonel, who is the head of the local Marines,
I haven't met. My understanding is there's a new guy. I haven't met him yet.
Yeah, I don't know if he's new, but it was a great speech. He painted a picture of the story of what happened that day, and it was very nice. I was kind of thinking that the governor might insert a little bit of just a sentence or two of nationalism in there, but surprisingly, there was none. I liked her speech. She spoke about Miss Emsley that was almost beheaded and left to die, in a semi-buried for about a week, which is an incredible story. Overall, it was a great ceremony. It was very well done. Whoever put it together, it's a really wonderful event to commemorate a very important chapter in Guam's history.
75 years later, we're getting it right.
Yes, exactly. It's great. I just wanted to call in to kind of chime in about the scandal, the Catholic Church scandal. I'm not Catholic myself. I was many,
Well, nobody's perfect.
Ago. Yeah. But, I have a friend of mine who was a victim. He was a Boy Scout, and he was the priest was I think a troop leader or something, and he took advantage of his position of authority. But anyway, I talked to him because he was on island, and I asked him what he thought about the selling off of assets, including church buildings and schools and everything. And you know, he is kind of still Catholic, although he's kind of wavering. But he was for it, and he said the reason why is that the Vatican has set it up so that they are immune from these kind of happenings, and he and his lawyer wants their wealth, their vast wealth, exposed and used to buy back these properties because they have vast amounts of money and wealth, and it's completely protected legally, and he doesn't think that's right. So anyway,
if it allows them I don't know the relief will ever be complete. But you know, a lifetime of secret keeping and living in shame and maybe feeling like that you were the problem. I don't know that anybody could live with something like that for a long time. And some of these folks that I know of are older. I mean, certainly older than us. I think is the case with a bunch of these guys. And I'm getting to thinking that, you know what, maybe I will be made to feel better if I get some kind of award from the church and their assets, but just the recognition that it happened, and so I don't need to keep it as much of a secret anymore. Just it happened, and the person that caused me the suffering has been made to pay, and the people that allowed for that suffering have been made to pay, regardless of whether it's the Catholic Church or anybody else.
Yeah, it does need to come out, and my friend was quite affected by it over the years. It did things to him psychologically. So, yeah, they need to pay a price. And hopefully the Vatican will be forced to expose some of their wealth to try to resolve this problem. Because it should go, as much as possible, should go to the victims that have suffered for all these years with these memories of what was done to them.
And the faithful will still find ways to be faithful. And if we've got to shut down a soup kitchen, the faithful, the true believers, can find a way to open up another kitchen. We'll find another cucina out there to help out the homeless and the starving.
Yeah, it will evolve, I'm sure. But it'll be interesting to watch, that's for sure.
Well, if anything, 2019 has been interesting to watch. And I think, given today's interesting batch of headlines and a couple of other cool things that might be coming out in the next little bit, maybe the rest of the week will be just as interesting to watch. We'll have to stick around and see, huh, Carl?
Absolutely. I'll be tuned in to the Ray Gibson Show, listening.
And Bob Klitsky's program at 4 o'clock as well. I got to break away. It's time for Fox News. AUSG, how got you?
I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Federal immigration agents had been expected to stage